to Love.
Swaggy.
Previously on Ready to Love.
myself this journey.
Okay.
The way he came out the water like a model, it was like, bam. But I also have a connection with Andre. I don't know.
Checkmate.
So I guess I gotta pay up.
Although I feel myself gravitating.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Butt 91. We're talking to you guys today, well, about Ready to Love, baby. Okay, we are breaking down the latest episode. What was it? Episode 12. Crazy stuff that was happening. Crazy things are happening. Crazy things are happening. You get me? So we're talking to you guys today about, well, all the stuff that was happening with Morgan and Tony. We had Mercedes and Mark Anthony. He wants to move back to New York. She's not sure she can handle that. We've got also Andre, not doing what he's supposed to do by saying that he's no longer going to be handling Cynthia, but he wants to keep that flame still going. Cynthia sounding like she really wants Andre to choose her rather than actually Anthony. Anthony's friend grilling her. There was just a bunch of things that were just happening on this episode. So we're going to break it all the way down. We're going to give you some good stuff. Okay, we're going to give you a good show today. Okay, it's going to be a knockout. Okay, yeah, that's right. It's going to be one of those shows. Okay, all right, listen. If you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, because it's going to be a red card and a flag on a play if you don't do this for me. Okay, like the live. There's 220 people in this live. I need you to like the live. Okay, all right. I'm trying to improve the production for y'all. Okay, I'm trying to bring in more sound effects. Okay, trying to bring in more of the atmospheric stuff going on. Okay, I need y'all to help me out. Okay, I need y'all to help me out. Okay, all right. I'm trying to catch Jasper. I'm playing, but listen, make sure you guys like the live, share it with somebody who loves watching Ready to Love, and also as well, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We talk about TV shows, relationships on this space, and we hold panels regularly as well. So listen, for those of you who are returnees, you know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. Okay. All right. The streets out there are hot. Okay. Let me just quickly just say this. I think watching this episode, I think there was some really interesting things. Let me just say this. And I was trying to figure out where Jeffrey's voice was coming from. And I know now where it comes from.
Wrong timing. And I get scared because my babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where it came from. I was watching Naruto the other day and I realized that's where her voice comes from. Okay, if you ever watch Naruto, you know. If you watch anime, you know where that comes from. If you watch anime, you know where that comes from. Okay, that sweet voice is the anime voice they give to the young girls in the show. Just saying, I was like, baby, cut it out. Cut it out. Okay, cut it out. Stop it. Okay, all right. Okay, so but yes, we definitely gonna chop it up today. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, please. We're gonna have timers today. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Timers are gonna be instituted today. Okay, because I be letting people talk for too long, and I know I've been warned, I've been told. Y'all have told me enough times that people be talking too long on the panels. So we're gonna institute a 2-minute max timer on people from the beginning to the end, because people be talking, and I love that. But we gotta keep it sensible around here. Okay, so all right, so I love you guys, but we're gonna keep it to 2-minute timer. Is that okay? All right, work with me now. Work with me. Okay, work with me. All right, we appreciate you. Okay, so again, please get the likes up before we start the show. Let's have a little look, a little bit. If you weren't here earlier on, we had a little conversation about Morgan and Tony. Here's another little clip as well.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? And broke my rule.
No entanglements over here.
Drake?
Nope. I plead the fifth, Tommy.
Plead the fifth.
Listen, when he said plead the fifth, I don't get why he said plead the fifth. That means Mark has got his own entanglements that he ain't telling us about. I was like, Mark, you ain't gonna get away with it. You know you done a little something, but you know what? You keeping quiet. You ain't saying nothing. I hear you. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I definitely hear you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with it. Okay, they said, okay, you guys are saying to me 2 minutes is too short. You want it to be longer. You want it like 3 minutes. Okay. Because the crowd have asked for the grace to be given, I will make it 3 minutes on the timing clock. The grace has been given. They said they want 3 minutes. I'm not going to be mad at it. I will bring it to 3 minutes for you guys as well. Thank you for the grace, audience. We appreciate you. We want to make the show. We want to make the show fantabulous. You know what I'm saying? We want to make it smooth. We want to make it great. We want to make it fabulous. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate you guys contributing. All right. 3 minutes to be given. Okay. All right. All right, cool. So listen, let's get into these conversations. Situations will arise, but you gotta be smart about it. All right, cool. Let me put a link in the chat. Join the panel. Have your say. Okay, all right. Have your say. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put that in the chat there for you guys as well. Okay, all right. Beautiful, 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 beautiful stuff. Okay, cool. All right. If you want to join, you do have to come up. All right. If you want to join the conversation, you do need to cam up. Okay. All right. So if you can't cam up, don't come up. Okay. All right. Unless we have an existing relationship and I know you very well, don't come up because I need you. I need you to come up because I don't know you like that. Okay. Get back because I ain't know you like that. Okay. All right. Jay, what the? Yo, Amy, y'all need to see what Jay was doing. Okay, that is a flag on the play. This is for Jay, the flag on the play, because that was out of bounds. Jay, what the hell was that? Huh? What was that, Jay? Okay, flag on the play for Jay. All right, cool. Let's get into some conversations. As well. Again, if you want to join the panel, do so early because we ain't got the time today. Okay, we ain't got the time today. All right, cool. I don't want to know. All right, cool. Sort of it. Whatever Jay's doing behind the scenes is crazy. All right, cool. Let me get my panelists on, sensible people, folk, and I'm sure the other lot will join us in a few minutes. You're gonna be late. You can't discuss it later on. That's what I'm gonna say. If you be late, we can't discuss the things and go back. I don't want to hear no one say go back. Okay. Oh no. Sorry, someone joined. You can join. I'm not saying that you can't join. I was saying, damn, I done kicked. she done left thinking I was saying she's late. No, you can join. Whoever that was, it Donaldson. You can join. It's not a problem. I was just saying if you're late, you can't discuss a past couple we've already gone past. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so that's what I was saying. So is it Donaldson? If you want to join, please do click on the live. You can join. I was just saying if you're late, we can't discuss past couples if you're trying to go back. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want none of that stuff. Can I discuss? No, we can't. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. Let's get into this conversation. We're gonna start with a big one, Morgan and Thingy. This is what I'm saying. If you're late, I can't help y'all. Okay. All right. So we're gonna discuss it. We're talking about Morgan and Tony situation. Okay. All right. Cool. So let me put this down, baby, because that's gonna come up and be annoying. There we go. All right. Cool. So who wants to kick off the show for us first? Let me choose. Eeny, meeny, money, mo. JR, you are the one to go. That's it. JR, tell me your thoughts on. Tony and Morgan. I won't give you guys time limits. I'll let everyone have first round go. So take as long as you need. Don't take 10 minutes, so I will cut you off. But take as long as you need, and then the next round I will put a timer on. So go for it, Cap. Morgan and Tony, what was your thoughts? What did you see? What did you experience? Tell me.
Okay. I think the bringing up of this so-called entanglement was a very low blow, very wrong thing to do. I'll tell you why. Because I think that the way she did it, knowing that he'd already told her privately off camera, he's already explained what happened, for her to bring it up on camera and use it to take shots at Natasha, who isn't on the show anymore. And if she knew about it, then it was really just to be messy, I guess, or to point score. So I didn't like how that was done. I like the fact that Tony defended Natasha in her absence, and basically said that it was something that happened way back when, before she got eliminated. She gave out the number, gave all the details. Morgan then said, I already, I know this. Thank you for telling me. Right. So her bringing it up at that point, I didn't understand the timing of that, to be honest, unless it was to shame him or to make him feel guilty about something. So their relationship seems to be problematic as ever at the moment. And I think that's going to continue if they stay together. So I'll start there.
Thank you, JR. Black, talk to me. Tony, Morgan, entanglements, baby. What's going on there? Talk to me. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I felt the whole thing was tacky. It's like she's searching for a spinoff show or something to bring that up at this time. If you're not into him, don't be into him. You don't have to embarrass him or put him into a certain light. But I will say it was tacky on Tony's part as well to even be in this situation because, okay, you're dilly-dallying. So now you put into her head that this is the type of man that you are. If you're not in a committed relationship, you're gonna have your fun. You're gonna date more than one person at a time. Get into the sauce, so to speak, and it's not a good look. The way it was all presented and everything is not a good look. So I agree with JR that her bringing it up now, it seems like there was some type of motive for her to do that. I don't know what it is yet, but it seems like she is starting to become that. Well, not starting to become, but she has become that drama type of woman. And when she started to show, that wasn't her MO. When she started to show, she was very church girl. Sweet, talked about the Lord, talked about the Bible, her faith and everything. So how do we go from that to this? What happened to make her switch up like that? Because her behavior has just been crazy. So Tony is a little arrogant to me. Just my view on him. He's really arrogant. He gets attention from the ladies. There's certain men you can't give too much attention to. And Tony seems to be one of those guys because it kind of goes to the head a little bit. He's not really humble about it at all. So he takes advantage of what he can get, as most men probably would, no lie on that. But just the whole entanglement thing, I think it was just too much. Yeah.
Love that, Black. Thank you. Lorraine, what's your thoughts?
First off, thank you, audience, for giving us grace and giving us 3 minutes because I've got smoke and my smoke will not be tamed. So thank you so much. So when it comes to Tony and Morgan, I just thought, whatever you're paying these people, you better double it for these people because they have given us the drama and they have given us the toxicity. Like, you can't deny that. You can't deny that they have had us entertained and we are up here talking about them. So if they're getting a check, O needs to double that check because this was very unnecessary. Morgan was like... I'm ready to keep these people entertained. If the producers are in her ear, she's like, "Yep, I'll do that." It seemed like every episode, she's like, "I'll do that. I'll embarrass myself. I'll, tell this person off." So, whatever she's doing it for, if it's really her, then whatever. But either way, they've had us entertained, and I'm all the way here for it. The fact that he told her that he had an entanglement with our good sis Natasha after episode whatever that was, and she has been still interested, it's just really baffling to me. You're going to bring it up now that it's an issue? Why was it not an issue then? It should have been an issue before that he's doing this because it's just showing his lack of seriousness. That's why you nicknamed him Tony from Round the Way, because of this. Now it makes sense. This is where this nickname came from because he was already doing up entanglement with Natasha, So you should have stuck with Anthony because I think when the season first started, she came on live saying, "Oh, I wasn't talking about Tony, I was talking about Anthony." You should have stuck with Anthony. Right, I don't know why you're out here steering with Tony because clearly he's not the best person for you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So that was really confusing. I really, really found it distasteful that she was attacking Natasha, talking about, he needs to really watch where he's putting his ding dong, as though to undermine her, like she's not worth it. It was though she was trying to show us and show him that I'm here and he's here and he should not have done that. It's like she's questioning his taste or whatever, and when he tried to kind of defend her honor, we're not going to talk about her, we won't talk about her, and I just found that really distasteful. Sometimes Morgan's character is really unbecoming. And this is one of those moments where I just thought you'd be upset at him for doing that, but don't you dare bring another woman down just to make yourself feel better. That was very, very distasteful. So aside from that, great television.
Thank you, Lorraine. Appreciate it. JJ, talk to me. What's your thoughts on Tony Morgan entanglements?
Okay. First of all, I agree with majority of everything that everybody has said. These two is a problem, and I'm gonna say this off rip. If they get together, stay together, congratulations, because you guys will be each other's karma. Seriously, because this tit for tat that y'all both have going is ridiculous. This is bad coupling right here. If y'all looking out here, do not do this. If you're going tit for tat with a person constantly, this is not the relationship for you. If you need couples counseling before you are even a couple, this is not the relationship for you. This is the person you probably should stay far, far away from. But since they want to be together, let's break it down to each person separately. Okay. Morgan, I'm not sure if she's the one who's telling the truth or the lie up in this situation as far as the timing of when this was made said to the other person, because she said she recently found out. And then she kind of doubled back and said something a little bit different from it. But if you just recently found out, I can give you a little bit more leeway as to why it's just now coming out on TV right now. Do I agree with you putting it out? No. Do I agree how you was attacking Natasha? No, because Natasha didn't have nothing to do with that man's pen and where he want to put it. Like, you're getting mad at her when you should be getting mad at him for doing whatever it is. And to be honest, you can't even get mad at him because he said this is before he even formed a deep connection with you. Now, I don't know if that's the lie, because both of y'all been telling a lot of lies through this whole thing. But however the case may be, you were wrong for putting this information on TV about this other girl. You didn't have to name her out or anything like that. You could have kept it very anonymous and whatever the case may be. But you got some dislike or whatever it is for Natasha, that even to the point where he tries to at least defend Natasha, you want to shut it all the way down and tell him, don't do that. Let's not talk about her. Well, you brought her up. And you're talking about her negatively. So, of course, it's only respectful of a man for him to sit there and say, let's not do that, because at the end of the day, we're two consenting adults. So if you want to be mad at me, that's fine, but don't be mad at this other person, because truthfully, I told you that in confidence. That person don't know I told you. So he need to look at that as Morgan's side. Next after that, like, sis, you coming on 10 energy when it need to be directed to him, and you want therapy. But when you say this to the sister, you basically say it like he got the communication problem, but you never look at yourself as the problem. I noticed that about Morgan. Just like, seriously, you never look at yourself as you have the problem. So that's a problem. You need to get therapy too. You both need individual therapy. I was glad the sister was not totally on board with Morgan being for Tony. I definitely agree that the sister might see where Tony has his own attitude problem mixed with hers is not a good combination for them both. She's probably being a little protective in that matter. I'm not really sure. Or she just don't see it for Morgan. Okay, so Tony, on the other hand, thank y'all for the extra 3 minutes, because I'm going to say it all real quick. Tony, on the other hand, he's a problem, because if you have just now told her that information, why? If it's not to get back at her about Lyndon, why are you telling her this information if you've been sitting on it all this time? Now, if she had this information since the beginning, that's a shame on Morgan, because now you just want to bring it up all of a sudden, and you told her this way before. So this is where I don't know which one of them is lying about it, because he said he's been told Morgan, and she said she just recently found out. So one of y'all is being a liar up in this situation. Unfortunately, it's at the sake of Natasha, and that's effed up. And I don't like Tony second time airing his bedroom business out. That's a character flaw. That's high school, that's juvenile. You don't do that to your woman. That's not the woman that you actually want to be with. Me and my homegirl is not going to be talking about no Delash that we want. I'm definitely not telling my homegirl about nothing that I feel is good to me. So why would you be sitting here every chance you get letting the world know that you hitting these different ladies? So Morgan, if you don't see that as a red flag, sis, stay with that man, be each other's karma. Y'all be together and be each other's karma, because that's what all this is going to turn out to be. We're going to see at the reunion, y'all not even together and ready to blow up and explode on each other. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Thank you very much, Jay. Seaway. Your thoughts? Entanglement, baby.
What's the question, my love? Because I came on late.
Entanglement. Well, it's just about Tony and Morgan. Your thoughts on Tony and Morgan?
Oh, just about the whole thing.
Yeah, you got 3 minutes to deliver some beautiful stuff.
Ooh, child, I don't know if I got three whole minutes, but I mean, I just kind of echo, and I hate saying I echo what you guys said because I like to say something different if I have something different, but I don't really know if I have something different. All I can really say is that I do think that Morgan needs producer credit. I definitely think she needs producer credit. Shout out to her for that. And if she's not getting paid, she needs to be getting paid. 2, I believe that she is lying about when she was told about this. I think she was told earlier on, and that's probably the reason why she had all those earlier trust issues. Asking him, you playing. Remember, we didn't know why she just kept on saying that over and over and over again. That was probably back when he told her originally. And so why she brought it up now, to me, just feels like producing the show. 3, the way Tony, Morgan, and Tommy did Natasha, to me, is just completely disrespectful. None of them had to go back and forth about what happened. That was very juvenile, very high school. But I think also as a woman, we have to be mindful, especially women in positions of power, who we're giving our body to, because I think it's very unfortunate that her in a profession that is very judgmental. And so I'm just speaking from a person who's in this profession. It's a very judgmental, old, antiquated profession. You cannot be on national TV having your name associated with being used for your body. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is the main reason why you don't give your body and your soul to these men who don't care about you, because she is a person whose reputation matters and her name should not be associated to this BS. And I personally, I hate that for her because of what Tony and Morgan and Tommy did, because Tommy didn't need to know exactly what happened, right? But also, this is just a lesson. If anyone needs a gentle reminder, do not give your body to these men or anybody who would literally allow you to be set up like that. Because although he did try to defend her, it was too little too late, because Morgan had already drug her and made her out to be some, just nobody. I thought that was ugly. And there was one more. It was and then the counseling. We don't go to counseling with, oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You don't have to say the whole thing. I'm going to ask more questions, so don't worry. I'm going to come right to around. So you don't have to say it all in one go. That's all I got. Because I know C was trying to squeeze it all on. My bad. V, go for it.
Yes, as usual, I'm totally in agreement with Seaway. I kind of have more heat for Tommy. I did not like how he kept asking for details and pushing Tony to say that they were intimate and the young lady was not there. The whole thing was just bad. Like, see what I'm saying? In those type of professions, your reputation for being out there definitely comes back to haunt you. And she went on this show. She's on there for 5 seconds. And they're dragging this lady. And I think that Morgan did it on purpose. I think she already knew. This is the reason why she felt like it was okay for her to be talking to Lyndon, flirting with Lyndon, which I think she never really liked Lyndon, but it was a way for her to get back at Tony. And the fact that Tony defended her, yeah, he get a little bit of points, but overall that he told at all, and it happened before he even connected with Morgan, supposedly, was very trashy. I did not like any of this. I think the show is going downhill by doing all this, to me.
I hear you on that. Sophie, what's your thoughts on Tony and Morgan?
Yeah, I agree with a lot that has been said. I do believe that the name Natasha came up because of what happened with Lyndon. I feel like this was kind of, maybe she didn't give Tony a heads up that she was going to bring this up in a conversation, possibly. He told her in the past and she brought it up while they were filming, maybe. I felt like, and that's probably why he tried to defend the young lady. But yeah, very tit for tat. Remember, she kissed Lyndon Did Tony find out that she kissed Lyndon goodbye? And is this a way to get back at her? I mean, I think this is all very, very silly. I feel like Morgan acts like a very silly woman. Like, you need to stop playing games. You're not going to win, especially with Tony. Tony's been around. Tony knows how to play. I think I've said this from the beginning. He has deep skills, even though he came on here saying he is a man of God, that he loves, God, and he's after God's heart, etc. But your actions show something completely different. She might be more attracted to maybe, I don't know, the image that he gave her, and she likes the game. I believe she likes the game. This is why I say she's a silly woman, because you like the tit for tat. You don't show much humility. You like playing games. You like the drama. You like the exploding and fighting and maybe having good sex afterwards. And I feel like it has a lot to do with that. And big no for her to really put Natasha's name out there, calling her low-hanging fruit. Not fair. And yes, I agree. Tommy should have never kept pushing and saying, well, what happened? What happened? Well, he's already given you a hint that something happened. So just let it be. I'm interested to see what the reunion is going to be all about. And yeah, both of them see red flags in each other and they keep going for one another. This could be to get ratings, but I really do believe that they are very much entangled, very much so entangled.
Queen E, pleasure to have you on board. Good to see you, babe. What's your thoughts on Tony and Morgan?
Are there thoughts? Like, I don't even know. It's very frustrating because at the beginning, I felt like Morgan was presenting as if she understands she hasn't been the best in the past, and now she wants to be better, yet she's accepting behaviors and accepting a person who would bring her back if progression was really something that she wanted. So I'm just like, I don't know why you would constantly make excuses for somebody who, how do I say this? I feel like he tried to make a point at the retreat at the expense of Morgan and at the expense of Marcia. And then now again, he's trying to elevate his status as being the head honcho at the expense of Natasha. At some point, you got to look within yourself and you're like, this is who I'm accepting. Like, this is not okay. So yeah, I'm looking at Morgan kind of sideways. I'm looking at him sideways because he came as the spiritual person, as the one who's so in tune with Christ. And now he's acting like this. And I'm just like, this is pathetic. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Queenie. Thank you, Queenie. I appreciate it. And good to have you on board as well. If you guys don't know, Queen E is the queen over these sides as well. So she, when I first started reviews, do you know who I was watching Ready to Love through? I'm not saying anything. Let me keep the airways free. But I found my way. Okay, all right. This is the person that was helping me. Okay, so before me, it was Queen E. Okay, so we pay homage and respect to you, babe. Okay, all right. So we appreciate around this. Good to have you on board. Corey said he had a question he wants to ask. So Corey asked a question he wanted to ask about Tony.
Yeah. But real quick before I get to the question, I did mention Tommy. I wanted to speak on him really briefly. Tommy asked Tony the question, but Tony did not have to answer the question. Tony is his own man. Tony stated he is an alpha male. If you're an alpha male, you can't be budged. You can't be moved. If someone wants something from you and you don't want to give it, then you don't give it. So I'll just say that piece on Tony, what he says he is versus what he actually is. So my question for Tony is, why did you tell her at all? Your decision was not final. You're still trying to choose between her and Jeffrey. Why tell her at all? Did you tell Jeffrey as well? Did you tell both of them or just tell one person? Because if that's the game he wants to play, he's gonna have to do it with both of them. Unless now it sounds more like it's a for ratings thing now, because if you only told one and not the other, then obviously your decision is final. You need to stop playing and saying I still have to between Jeffrey and Morgan. No, you already have your decision. So to me, I think that was the question I have him. Why did he tell her at all? I think his I think him telling her at this time was just a bad move. I think if it was final there at the end, then yeah. So I was just curious about that.
Anybody have a response as to the question and why you felt like
I'm
Tony had to
confused
say
because she's
anything?
saying Tony with Jeffrey though, and he's not with Jeffrey. He only has Morgan.
Oh, it's only Morgan now. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. But as
You mean
far as that
Natasha?
same question, yeah. But this to answer your question, I said it earlier. Like that's my thing. What would your purpose be other than to try to make her mad behind Lyndon or get under her skin because you know it? She's triggered by things. What would be your purpose of telling her? Because he keeps saying, I want to do it before it comes out, but who's going to tell? Natasha is not going to tell on herself.
Right.
So that is a good question. Why you would do it.
Anyone else have a answer for that question? Anyone else got an answer for that question? No. Okay, cool. Let me ask a question then. They obviously asked for, Morgan suggested counseling at the beginning of their relationship. I want to know from you guys, with Morgan asking for counseling, is this relationship doomed before it starts? I see people nodding head. Her asking for counseling, is it a problem? Do you see it as a problem? What's your thoughts around someone asking, or saying even, I think we should go counseling before we get to that place? I'm gonna get everyone's thoughts. I'm gonna keep it short though on this one, because we're just answering a question, and I've got a little timer in the corner, so it's gonna keep you on track. Okay, so guys, I know I'm gonna put it in the corner for you guys. All right, so I'll flash it. It'll come on and flash. All right. So I don't want to block Lorraine from the screen. In fact, let me put myself down because I'm not important. So Lorraine, you can go to my corner. Okay. And I'll put the flat thing on. Okay. So this timer here is to keep y'all on track. Okay. So the question is about the counselor. It's in a quick, short answer, nothing too heavy. And then we'll get a bit deeper in a second or two. So JR, you looked at me first. I'm going to start from you into this question. Yeah, because you looked at me when I asked the question. You looked down and looked up. So you get volunteered. So in regards to this question, counseling. She's asking for counseling, saying that they should go for it. What's your response? Good, bad, ugly, whatever your thoughts are.
Counseling at this stage is way too soon. If you feel you need counseling this early, it's probably best to leave that relationship alone. Not sure why you'd want to stay in it at this early stage if it's been so problematic up to this point. It's probably going to continue that way with the types of personalities that are involved. So definitely a bad idea, but both of them definitely could do with seeking some individual counseling to prepare them for their next relationship. I don't see anything wrong with that because that will help them to work on any particular issues that keep rearing their heads in the dating field when they go out into the marketplace. So yeah, I think couples counseling way too soon. If you need it now, you're definitely going to need it as your relationship progresses.
Thank you. I love this sound effect. It works a treat. God bless you. Black, you answer. You can answer this question next. I want to keep it in order and go across. But Black, you can answer this question. Morgan asking for counseling. What's your thoughts around her asking for that? Good, bad, ugly? Do you agree with it? Disagree with it? Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, it comes off to me as if she's like desperate for it to work. I think my personal view on counseling is that you do that after you've invested in a person. When you guys have invested in each other, time, energy, effort, when that seriously has been considered and done for each other, then I think counseling will be something you want to open the door for. But it seems like this is the closest thing she can get to finding what she truly wants. And she really wants it to work. Even with her talking, the way she talks to Tony, she knows he's toxic, but she still says it's something about him. It's something about him. This is what a lot of women face when dating. They like something about a guy, but they just don't see that big red flag that says, okay, it's time to move on. I think that's what's missing between her and Tony. It's time to move on.
Thank you very much, Black. Jay, question. Counseling, no counseling, good, bad, ugly. What's your thoughts to Morgan's request for that to happen? before her and Tony progress?
Generally, I'm all for counseling with any couple. That's when I said keyword couple. Y'all haven't even made it to make it official yet. So why are we need a couple? We need counseling for friendship. Like if we can't even talk to each other as friends, why are we moving forward in our grown age? Like seriously, if we were young, I could see we not being friends and being in lust and all this stuff like that. But we're talking about long-time partnership right now. So why I'm not making friendship with this person? Because when all else fails in the rest of our physical lives, we got to be able to be friends with one another at the end of the day to be able to coexist in the same habits and the same place with each other. So yeah, I think it's a problem. I think you should exit out that relationship if you have to have counseling at this early of a stage. Personally, I do.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Seaway, talk to me. Counseling, no why are you looking at us, Seaway? Counseling, no counseling this early stage. Love the hair, by the way. Counseling, no counseling stage. Tell me, what's your thoughts?
You having so much fun with this timer.
I really am. It's enjoyable. I can't lie to you.
We're having a ball. Basically, everything that JR said and what Jay said, but I'll just add, I think what's going on with Morgan is that she's allowed her head to get way beyond where they actually are at in this relationship. Like she has sped this up in her mind. Like we're 2 years down the line in her mind. So that's why in her head, this counseling thing makes sense. When in reality, they're like 2 weeks or 3 weeks in or whatever it is. So I think the reason why she wants counseling is because in her head, like they're preparing for marriage. And maybe that's delusional. Maybe that's what Tony's telling her. I don't know. But I definitely think they need individual counseling and they need to get on the same page. Because counseling for even new couples doesn't make sense, let alone someone who's not even a couple that's not a couple. It's crazy. This alarm's going to go off.
Thank you, Seaway. Appreciate that. All right. I stopped it in time. No way. I stopped it in time. No way. V, talk to me. Counsel, no counsel.
Morgan said, "That's my man, and we going to counseling together, no matter what." That's it. So I think if she thinks they need to go to counseling, you guys aren't going to convince them any differently. It is kooky and crazy. People usually present their representatives in the first 5 to 6 months, but they're already acting crazy, for lack of a better word, already. So they're already seeing what the red flags are. So she said, let's go to counseling. So I'm going to buck the system and say, yeah, go ahead, go to couples counseling. Enjoy yourself. You need individual counseling, but go ahead so you can learn how to talk to each other. So
appreciate that, V. Appreciate that. Sophie, give us your take on this counseling, no counseling from the beginning. You agree or disagree?
No, I disagree. No counseling. Maybe counseling for her individually. I think she's getting too ahead of herself. Again, this lack of self-awareness. I feel like she has a lot of pride and is a bit arrogant almost. Like, I deserve this. I want this. Or I want this no matter what. And I want it to look a certain way. So I feel like there's a lack of self-reflection. Like, hey, look at it from the reality. So there's a bit of delusionalness about her too. And that's why I said that she acts very unexperienced. And sometimes when you're stunning and beautiful like her, I'm sure that she's had plenty of opportunities to be with a variety of men, and she just plays around with it instead of like going back and saying, what is it that I want? I think she needs therapy for herself.
Thank you very much, Sophie. I appreciate you. Who's next? Queenie, talk to me, baby. What's your thoughts? Counseling, no counseling?
Okay, I agree with you guys, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. Okay. Devil doesn't need an advocate, but here we are anyways. I think that considering the fact, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it Morgan who's the one who said she has never been in love? Maybe this is her way of trying to change behaviors that have hindered her getting to that level in the past. And if we are listening to the things that she's saying, it seems like marriage is something that she wants in the near future. So going to counseling now would kind of be like premarital counseling for her, kind of, because she's already like believing she's on the cusp. And then as a community, again, listen to me. This is devil's advocate. As a community, we're trying to break the stigma on counseling and stuff like that and therapy. So how are we gonna say, oh, this is a problem? I don't know, guys. I don't know. That's my devil's advocate. That's all I could do in a minute.
And that's what the devil needs. Lorraine, tell us your thoughts. Tell us your thoughts on the counseling. No counseling. I actually like the devil's advocate part, to be honest, because I kind of agree with it. But go for it, Lorraine.
Morgan thought she ate with that counseling comment because, you know, she's coming to see the sister. She wants to look like she's emotionally intelligent. Look, we've got our problems. We don't communicate properly. This is how we're going to fix it. But logically, it's just not making sense because the process is how long? Realistically speaking, it's been weeks now, and you already need an outsider to come in and help you guys. It's not making sense. And, you know, Morgan, it's not your first time on the rodeo. You know, you have been through failed relationships. It's time for you to reflect and look back and actually identify if there's issues now at the beginning. Is he worth investing into? You are on the clock. You said yourself you've got 2 years. The math is not mathing. By the time you go to counseling and then you start getting into note and then you do all these things, you're going to be with him for 10 years. 10 years still at this counseling, still trying to give him the time. Sorry.
Thank you.
Stop it, Project. Stop.
We're done. Yo, when you get a new toy, it is a beautiful thing. It's just like the vroom, vroom, vroom. By tomorrow, I'll probably be bored of it. You know what I mean? But it's a powerful toy today. Okay? All right? So we appreciate you. All right, cool. Sorry, let me put myself back here. But okay, so thank you for that little portion as well. Really appreciate you guys sharing those thoughts. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the floor again to you guys. Any more last thoughts to Tony and Morgan? Anything that's come to mind that you want to be able to discuss quickly? I will open it and make it 2 minutes so you can have your last final thoughts on this couple, and we're gonna move it on from this section. Okay, all right. So in fact, I'm gonna let Sean go first. You haven't been here, so I know you want to say a little piece. Okay, so. You know, get your little penny pence in, sir. Tell us your thoughts.
I love the timer, by the way. So my thoughts are, listen, you know, I love me a 90s R&B jam, and escape that's my little secret. So why can't we just keep secrets? You know, like, I don't understand why this needed to be put on a public platform. You know, so very disappointing in that, and I know many have shared a similar sentiment. But yeah, no, you can't even have a nice hookup without, you know, it getting to the, center stage. So I think that's immature on all parties included for how that was handled. And shout out to Chris Natha. I'm gonna jack up her expression, but how you handle small things will be how you handle all things. I know it's not it, but that's how I'm gonna use it. And then I think the counseling thing is, I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think, but her intentions, and couples make this mistake, and I think Morgan was making this mistake, like, we gonna take him to counseling because he needs fixing and I'm good. And that's where she's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if she wanted to go to counseling to say, let's set the stage, let's see if we really can be compatible, I'm all for that, because sometimes, because we know these two done connected biblically, we know it. Whether we don't know, if we think we know, we should know. Right? So it takes people a while to let go of, once they've been connected in that way. So I think sometimes if you have some professional help to kind of really tell you if you are truly aligned and are a good fit and are going to be healthy for each other, I think that could be a good idea. But not going into the counseling bit thinking like, oh, we need to fix Tony, I'm good, my issues are okay, he just needs to be fixed, is the wrong motive. And if that's the idea that she's going into it with, then I don't support the counseling. Now, if they're looking to see if they're compatible, if there's things that the counselor can help them with as a couple, I totally support it.
Thank you, Sean. The timer was about to go whoop, whoop again, but you just saved it. It had 2 seconds left on it, boy. I was waiting for it to go off again. Anyone else want to add their 2-minute sense on these two, on Tony and Morgan? Anything else that's come to mind that you thought to yourself, you know what, like, there was someone else that come to mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anything else? Yes, Queen, go for it.
Me, I just wanted to say, I don't know. People are saying she's jumping the gun when it comes to her relationship with Tony, but he's just as possessive over her as she is over him. So I'm just like, they're kind of on par when it comes to this whole we ride together, we die together, bad marriage for life. So I don't know. Let them go to the counseling. Let the counseling lead them to whatever answer it's going to lead them to. As long as they are together, not messing up with anybody else, that's fine.
I don't mind the counseling in theory, right? But I think there's a lot of people who don't understand the gift of goodbye, and they see so many red flags so early before they've gone through anything. And instead of saying, hey, I'm really trying to stick, the square in the circle in the square, they're go to, I just need to go to counseling. I do believe that couples counseling, even though I don't think it's going to work, if the counselor tells them that they both kind of need to figure their stuff out individually, then that's a success. But I don't think it's a good message to tell people when they see red flags from the beginning that you can easily detach from, to say, stay longer and then go to counseling. I think that just leads to some unhealthy relationships. But I do think Ready to Love is kind of like Love is Blind and other shows where they're in this intense process and it probably feels more real than the average 8-week relationship. So I think it does feel real for them. I just don't think this is a good idea, but hey.
I scream therapy up here all day, but I'm in agreement with Seaway. I don't feel like love can be hard, but starting a relationship should never be this hard. If we're having communication problems in the first place, how are we going to get to even loving each other, like seriously loving each other? Right now, this is lusting over each other, because a relationship takes more than the physical attraction. In Tony's case, the spiritual attraction that he seems to have with her so bad, because he don't have no other attraction. If we can't communicate to break down walls and barriers of those other areas that I need you to be for me, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, for real, then we're going to have a serious problem. Because if everything is done in a nonverbal, which is of course physically for them too, then we have really nothing. So what are we working on so hard? We're forcing a relationship if we have to go to counseling for that. Seriously, I'm with Seaway on this. If you see these red flags and you're just not getting along with the person to even start a friendship or a relationship with them, just leave it alone. Don't force it, because you're going to be stuck in something. You're going to be changed so much of yourself listening to a counselor or whoever it is you're going to for that help, trying to change for this person. And you're going to find out you're really miserable and unhappy because you're not living yourself and being your best self with a partner that accepts you for you. I think later on in a relationship, yeah, that's good. But this early on, I just don't see it. But I hear you, Queenie. I do hear you on it. I definitely do.
Yes, Queenie, you want to respond?
Question, Kojo? Okay. No, it's not a response. This is me being my... This is me jumping in my advocate Sue bag. I just want to reiterate to the people in the audience, I agree with everything that's being said on the panel. Okay, this is me just being an advocate. I'm asking the people on the panel and the people in the audience, what would be the detriment of them going to couples counseling? We agree that it is premature, but what would be the adverse effects of them going?
Prolonged
I like the question. Go for it.
prolonged toxic
Go for it. Yeah.
attachment. They're prolonging this toxicity, because if they continue this and go to counseling to try to make it work, what if she gets a baby from the situation? What if it turns into a DV situation? Because I can rest assured, if she tries to put Nair on Tony's head, I don't think it's gonna end the same way it ended for her before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like going to counseling is just prolonging this situation, and they're going to get down the wrong path. That's how I see it. Because they're not healthy, you know, and there's some people who are in counseling because their relationship is not healthy, but I'm not in fear for anyone. You know, it's just not working. They just are not good for each other, and I can see it going left. You're already bringing down another young woman for what reason? You know what I mean? Like, your toxicity has now left your relationship and has gone out to others. It's just, so that would be my answer.
Okay, here's mine. And I know people are going to crucify me for this one, but I can understand where Blake, though it was wrong how he said it, but when he said she's going after a baby by any means, this is why he said that. The desperation that she's giving off to even want to pursue this. Like, if this wasn't such a toxic relationship, and we can totally see this, like, we totally see that these two are not meant to be with each other. It's not a good, healthy relationship to the start. If this was just like any other relationship that starts off and we just got some little kinks or quirks or whatever, okay, fine. Y'all can work it out, go to counseling. But you two are super, super, like, the opposite, but the same at the same time. Like, you guys are both playing tit for tat, back to back, constantly. And you think it's cute. You both think it's cute. Okay. I can't say y'all need to do this together at all. Like, seriously, I think you both need individual counseling for sure, to check both of y'all like issues, because Tony got an anger issue over here and she does too. Both of them like making each other jealous. And we see what that blew up to this whole little argument back and forth where we being petty and spilling other business that we don't need to be spilling out to the public. The worst that will happen out of this relationship right now is that Morgan, out of desperation, will sit here and listen to what the counselor is telling her, try to change everything for that man, and he not do the same, because they're supposed, instead of changing they want to change for themselves, which she ain't gonna change for herself, because she already thinks she don't have a problem. So, but she changed for this man. The worst can happen is she back at the store in the line with another bottle of Nair or something worse. Because Tony is not going to go to take counseling serious. Morgan will take counseling serious. They'll end up in a relationship. The relationship go bad later on, and they both own our local news channels. So that would be the worst happening. I like to be optimistic, but these two just don't give me workable for the solution. Like, seriously.
Okay. Anyone else want to answer that question? Anyone else want to answer that question? JR perks his lips, so he definitely wants to answer the question. Go on, JR. I saw you perk the lips. Go on.
Yeah. Listen, the counseling aspect can only work if, you know, like Corey said, like, if there's a long-term investment, you know, time has passed and, you know, it started off well and you're trying to resurrect it to get back to that point, that's understandable. But like I said, they're too combustible. Like, these two jab each other. The way she speaks to him, whether it's to him in person or to the group when he's not around, you know, it's very disparaging. Like, she says things like, "Raw, like, be a man," and and you're not doing this because you're not a man, and things like that. Like always taking jabs, always taking shots. And for him, he's gonna react to that because we've seen he's a hothead, right? But he does it in a way which gets him out of the situation. Lead to a healthy relationship. And for any counselor to get through to Morgan, she has to also acknowledge that she has some problems, some fault in this, and she doesn't do that. It's all about, oh, he doesn't know how to communicate, or he ain't acting like this, or because he keeps acting stupid. Those are the type of things she's saying. Not one time have I heard. That's the only accountability she. So I think my internet's played up again. But yeah,
the good Lord said he's taking your Wi-Fi. Don't worry. Anyone else want to answer this question? What have they got to lose? Anyone want to answer that question about the counselling? Sorry, Joe, I know your internet's playing up. Anyone else want to answer this question in terms of what they got to lose? Yes, Sean.
Yeah, no, I'm right along with Queenie, and I think that especially when people have their heels dug in a relationship, my hope is that a good, wise counsel can maybe help them get out of it, because people on their own stay in relationships that are unhealthy for too long. So at least I'd feel more comfortable if they were going into counseling under, somebody that could guide them and really help expose some of the things that maybe they don't realize are as bad as they are. And, also kind of shine a light on Morgan so that she could understand exactly how much of a malignant cancer she can be before she talks about somebody else being a malignant cancer. So Jay, I swear, and Seaway can attest to this, not even in this episode, last week we had a conversation and I told her the same thing. I do not think that Blake's comment was that far of a reach, because I see how far the great lengths that she's willing to go. Right now, it might not have been the nicest thing to say in the world, and I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, if you look at Morgan's behavior, it's not a reach, right? And look, we birds of a feather flock together. So who is Morgan aligning herself with? Miss Jeffrey. And we all know that's toxic on toxic on toxic over there. So she definitely, I support the therapy. Sometimes we can't block our blessings. And my hope is that she would get with a counselor, since she's the one that's recommending it, somebody that she's already vetted, and hopefully she'll be able to take the advice for herself versus looking to make it all about Tony.
Anyone else want to just add? Anyone who hasn't spoken yet? Anyone else? Before I go to you, I'll come back. I will come back to you, Ian. I promise you I'll come back to you. I just want to make sure anyone else hasn't spoken. Anyone else hasn't spoken and wants to say anything?
What's the question? Sorry, I missed it.
How you missed the question, sis? Huh? But no, the question is, what do they have to lose by going counseling?
What do they have to lose by going counseling?
Yeah, Tony and Morgan. What do you have to lose by her offering counseling? What do you have to lose?
Well, the whole relationship, because the counselling is just basically going to unravel everything and all their issues and why they should not be together. You see, the reason why a lot of people go to counselling, or a person, an individual, suggests couples counselling, is because their own individual needs are not being met. In the beginning, it's not necessarily about the relationship and how we can make the relationship better. It's about, my needs are not being met. You're not doing this. So let me go and get an outside party to basically side with me and get you to fall in line. That's usually the incentive for initially when people suggest that therapy. What they don't realize, however, is sometimes that they have the issues, or the relationship should not be, they should not be in the relationship to begin with. So what they do is basically do themselves a disservice by even going into therapy, because they realize that they should not be together. So maybe that's what they need to do, but that's what they have to lose, the relationship in itself. If they just want to remain in this toxic bubble that they're in, they should just continue being as they are. But if they actually go into therapy, then they'll realize actually we're not for each other, and that's okay, you know. Sometimes therapy is not going to fix the situation. Just because you now go and get help, it doesn't mean that you're not going to. Sometimes the person's not for you. And that is okay. It's okay to walk away, to actually, you know, cut your losses, to be like, that's not my person, and that's okay. So, yeah.
Okay. Queen, you wanted to add an addition? Go for it.
I just wanted to say to the people saying that only couples who have invested a lot of time should go to counseling, it's not a good argument, because you can invest time and have it be a poor investment. So that's it.
Personally, I actually do think they should go. I think it would be amazing for them to go. I think they would be good. Better. At first, when I heard it, I was like, I think what we're seeing is we know what they're like. Okay, I think for us, we know what they're like. They trash. Okay, right now it's trash. Let's just be honest, right? I think we all know that, right? From the beginning of the way we're seeing it, it's trash. But from a just an outside perspective, I guess relationship aspect, right? I think this actually is a good investment of time. Reason why I think it could be a good investment of time. At first, I was a little bit like, you know. Then I did my review today, and I was like, actually, no, they should go. And now I think they really should go. And I'll tell you why. Because they're doing whatever they're doing anyway, right? We know they shouldn't be together. But what I'm saying is, they're already doing the do already. I'd rather you be doing the do, and you be getting some counseling while you're doing the do, because maybe your eyes might open while you're doing the do. Do you know what I'm saying? And then maybe when you open your eyes, you might realize we're not made for each other. Or maybe, do you know what we realize? There's a lot of work we need to work on. Let's actually work on this actual stuff. So I know exactly what you guys are saying. So I see the two sides. What you guys are saying is that they shouldn't be together in the first place. And I agree, they shouldn't. But they're now here. So now they're here. I think this could be a perfect opportunity to, if they're willing, if they really are willing to, that's the question as well. If they really are willing to put themselves in that position to actually start to going to counseling early, so that you actually can start working on some of those problems already. Because what can happen is that, you know, sex can cover up a lot of issues, you know, and you can bypass a lot of the issues, and then it just explodes at the end. So I'd rather see them in the counseling, you know, early, trying to work out some of these issues. Maybe a counselor kind of just speaking to them and saying, hey, you know what, you know, this is what you need to work on, or this is what you need to work on, and et cetera, and maybe they can make it work. But if not, then they're just left on their own, and they're gonna do the do anyway. They're gonna do the do. You know what I mean? So yes, Jay, you've opened your mic.
Yeah, so like I wrote to Queenie in the chat, I can hear where you guys are coming from, that the best thing that could happen is they get the ball rolling for individual therapy for both. However, the only problem why I stay 10 toes down on my side with this particular couple, I don't think with any other couple it would be a problem, but this particular couple, the number one reason too is Tony does not want to do it. If they both mutually was agreeing to do it, I would say, yeah, go for it by all means. But Tony does not want to do it, so much to the fact that he's arguing with Tommy over coaching and counseling the word, which is the same daggone thing. And you want to sit here and pose it as your sister has the problem, but you have the bigger problem than your sister. You don't want to go to counseling for whatever reason. So I don't think a person that doesn't want to go to counseling should go to counseling, because they're not going to be their authentic, genuine, open self that they need to be to get the healing that they need. And that's why I said Morgan would probably start to try to think she's manipulating the system by listening to the counselor, doing whatever the counselor say. They end up in this long-term relationship, and Tony hasn't changed. So to me, it would be a lot of waste of time and money in this situation when she wants to have a baby now, just move on and find somebody that's on the same page with you, instead of fighting this whole thing with this man for so long and wasting more of your time. the ball's a little late for you to be trying to do this. Like if she was younger, okay, go for it. If she was not Morgan, Mercedes and Mark Anthony, good, go for it. But you're a lady of a particular age wanting to have a baby. And I'm not saying it can't be done, but the factors that your baby is healthy are a lot more at risk of not being healthy at your age. So you got to actually get the ball moving with somebody that is ready and on your same page right now, not wasting any more time with Tony. So in this particular couple case, no. Other couples, maybe, yeah.
All right. Yes, Black.
Yeah, you know what? The more and more I think about this, I'm starting to see that they may belong together. They may belong together because there are plenty of couples out here in this world that thrive in toxicity in their relationship. And that's the only way that they can stay in their relationship. Some people don't want peace. Some people don't want grace in their relationship. They want toxic. So that sounds like the recipe that they're going for their relationship. I do agree with Jay in saying that they both have to be able to admit the fact that they need the help, that they are willing to put the work in in order for counseling to be successful. But I think that neither one of them is going to do that. I think that Tony is not going to admit fault to being wrong or needing assistance or help about anything. And Morgan is not going to either. Morgan mentioned counseling because she feels that Tony needs help with his communication. So she's not admitting that she needs help at anything. She's doing it for Tony. So unless both of them get that type of help and both of them see that they need that type of help, it's not going to be beneficial for them. So to me, I think that it makes more sense to me if they just go off into the sunset and do their own thing than try to pretend that they're going to fix something by going to counseling when neither one of them is going to agree to put the work in.
And I got my food ready. Anyone else want to add onto that subject? I think it's a really good conversation, because I think this is a good scenario. I love how we have different opinions on this. Anyone else want to add? Yes, Sean. I'm guessing you're eating because you put your camera off.
I'm back here. But yeah, listen, I don't think, like, especially with this couple, I think we have to take ourselves out of it, right? Because we're third-party observers looking at this, seeing the red flags. But the two people inside the relationship really don't see the red flags. So the only thing counseling can do is to help from somebody who is really an expert in relationships and human behavior to help uncover some of the issues, right? And bring to light some of the things that they both need to work on if they want to have a successful relationship. So I really don't think there's going to be much harm because they're not breaking up. They're already entangled with themselves, right? So listen, some people believe in soul ties, some people don't, but they tied together in some kind of way. So I just feel like at the very least, the therapist can give them some good counsel that they're not getting on their own. And maybe, just maybe, it will force Morgan to go to counseling by herself because Tony will be so objecting to it that she'll be like, well, then I'll go myself and I'll talk to him and I'll tell him everything we're going through. And then the counselor will be able to advise her, right? So I think at the least, it's going to help bring something to a close because people linger on. How many times, even our own audience and our own selves on the panel, we talk about relationships that we stayed in for too long. You thinking a counselor is just going to be there to keep them together? No, a counselor is going to help them with behaviors. It's going to help them to dig deeper into what are the root causes of some of the things that are going on. It's not, okay, the counselors don't tell you, okay, you guys stay together, right? It's not marriage counseling at your local Baptist church on the hill. This is a counselor who is an expert in human behavior. So we have to be open to the idea that at the very least, this person can point out some behaviors. And I know plenty of people, and I'll end it here. Plenty of people. One of my closest friends, he and his now ex-wife went to counseling together, and she was dead set that the counseling was only for him. But once they started talking and relaying stories and talking about things, the counselor started bringing out issues in her own behavior, started talking about things. Hey, listen, I don't know. I don't think that was the right way to handle that situation. And yes, you reacted this way, and I can understand that. But what was the outcome? So I think at the very least, it's going to bring to the surface some self-awareness that's not there. This is the same woman that thought it was cute that she burned her ex-boyfriend's hair with Nair, right? So that I'm not going to ever shun her getting in front of somebody with a license to talk about things. However we need to get it. Sometimes, listen, Jesus Christ can work through, the Lord can work through a donkey. So if he can work through that counselor, whether they're a believer or not, trust me, she needs to talk to somebody, and he should too. But at the very least, if she can get some help, I think it will do her a world of greatness.
Quick question. Have anybody stayed in, you stupid for that, coach. Has anybody stayed in a relationship that within the first 6 weeks, I give them that much time, you've seen this many red flags? How long y'all been staying in a relationship? How long did y'all stay in those relationships? Seriously?
10 months.
10 months?
10 months.
2 years.
Mm-hmm. God damn. Sorry, Lord.
Years.
Y'all was sexing in them too early. See, that's the problem. That's y'all need to close your legs. Close your legs to married men's and women's. See, that's the problem. No, just all right, I'll let y'all have it, because if I got this many red flags that early, I'm not even trying to mess with you. I'm just gonna keep it all the way funky. Like, this is too much for me. I like my peace.
But Jay, remember, this woman does not know love romantically.
I know she don't know love. And I get what Sean saying that if he do it for her or whatever, but this man don't even want to do it for himself, Sean. So he not gonna never get her in there in the first place. I think she just needs to go herself and better herself separately outside of this relationship. And maybe sometimes Jesus moves us in certain ways that he moves through the woman. And if her going starts bettering herself, maybe that'll get him to go.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jay. And I think it might, because Morgan is very stubborn too. So she might get tired of going by herself. And then she might be like, listen, he doesn't really care about me the way that he says that he does. And he's not the right one for me, because she has to self-discover that. I don't care how many of us listen to our friends and family members when we were in relationships that we shouldn't have been in. You don't. You do what you want to do. And sometimes you need to go through that process so that you learn to take heed and good counsel, and also just know better to do better, right? But she's never had that moment of self-reflection. So I think I'm hoping, that it's a possibility that it could come from therapy. But I don't think therapy necessarily hurts anyone. I guess unless you go to a really bad therapist, then yeah. On the other, that's more of the exception than the rule. Therapy is always going to be there to help you help to be a mirror to yourself and help you to get better in general.
Sorry, I got new toys. I got to play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Anyone else want to add?
Yeah.
Yes, JR, go for it.
Right. So I think one of the things that could also come from therapy is the therapy sees them for both who they are and tells them, look, you're no good together. And that might be the underlying fear, that the therapist might actually say, look, you two are not going to work. Look at what's transpired between you two, the way your attitudes are towards each other, very combative, always going against each other or taking jabs. The best thing to do might be to separate. And if the therapist recommends that might not be what they want to hear at the time. They might want to have more encouragement. They might poo-poo what the therapist says and continue their relationship regardless. If they both like this type of, I know toxic is overused, but if they both like this type of interaction to keep them stimulated or to make them feel wanted or needed in the relationship, then it's unhealthy. So any credible therapist will probably work that out pretty early on And if the therapist makes the determination that they're no good together, then they have to be willing to accept that as well. And they may not be willing to. So
I just think we're just giving these people way too much credit. You know, therapy and counseling is really about exploration and like digging. You know, you're getting to know yourself, you're discovering yourself, you know, understanding your thought patterns, your core beliefs, going way back to your childhood. You know, what Morgan wants is a quick fix. She wants Tony to be able to guard her emotions, to be able to speak to her in a certain way. She wants him how he is, but she also wants the kind of tender loving care. Women, we want two things. We want financial stability and we want emotional security. She's not getting the emotional security from him, and she's not going to get that from therapy, right? It's going to be a long-winded process. She does not have the time to invest in therapy with this man when she's got 2 years. We're giving her credit saying that she hasn't been in love. She has been through bad relationships. Whether she hasn't experienced love or not, she needs to take stock of why those relationships haven't worked. Why hasn't she fallen in love? What does she have to work on so she can bring her guard down and be able to experience that kind of love? She has the patterns in her relationship, so she doesn't need a therapist to tell her what to do. A therapist is not going to tell you what to do. A counselor is not going to tell you what to do. They're just going to help you get to the realization yourself. We all have the answers. We all have the life experiences. Yes, we might need a bit of guidance for somebody to help us understand, but you need to look at your own life and look at the patterns and the decisions that you have made to be like, what happened in this relationship? What happened in that relationship? She's not ready to do that. That's on her. Going to therapy with Tony is a waste of both their time. It's not going to accomplish anything. It's not going to make her understand herself better because she's going there for them. She's not going in an individual sense. So it's just really how you look at it. We're giving them way too much grace. There's just no point. It's a waste of time. Don't do it.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, my baby shut me down. Okay. All right. No worries. Anyone else who hasn't spoken on this yet wants to add before I change it? Before I change a couple. If you haven't spoken yet on it.
Earlier, I can't remember.
Oh, you can. This question, I'm not sure if you have. What they're gonna do? Just go for it.
All I was gonna say is therapy in general for relationships in life that you haven't made a long-term investment or commitment to is silly. And I think it's beyond silly. Like therapy for your mama, therapy for your brothers, therapy for a serious relationship with your husband, maybe even therapy for a long time friend that you're trying to work stuff out. But even with that, most of the time you should just like grow and leave if you guys are growing apart. But therapy for relationships that you don't even have a commitment to me is beyond silly. But the therapist will take y'all money. So if you guys want to go and with y'all new boyfriend and girlfriend and show up to the therapist's office on the couch, if you got that insurance, they will let y'all air out your bull crap. But I think it's silly.
I will say this though: if I am serious about a girl, you know, just want to put some feelers out there for the ladies out there. You know, if I am serious about someone, and I get into a relationship with you, we go in some therapy. I ain't got time to wait till we get married before we do therapy. We're doing therapy before we get married. I haven't got the time, right? I think there's some. I know myself. There are some blind spots. I'm not going to be arrogant about it or prideful about it. But if I'm serious about you and I think about, look, and I start dating you properly, I mean, like, not like just dating, but we're like thinking about, you know, relationship, we're trying to get married and all that kind of stuff. We going to do some therapy, okay? Some counseling, some couples counseling, etc., right? You know what I mean? So I'm going to say that. That's just for me personally, because I think sometimes when you're in a place where you counsel other people, there's a lot of blind spots, and I'm not about to play with myself. Okay. All right. Holy Spirit done got me, but I'm trying to just double back and make sure everything's just cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to have to come and tell you guys a sob story. okay, in about 5 years time, you know, because
So
that's going to hurt me.
Pre-engagement counseling, or you're saying like when you just meet a girl?
I'm saying before we get to engagement, I'm not engaging if I've not gone to therapy with you. I am not engaging if I've not gone to therapy with you. It makes no sense to me to engage you, and we haven't gone to some level of counseling. I can do a lot by myself, but I know there's shortcomings on my end. So I need to have some help of some counsel where we can actually see each other properly. You know what I mean? So before we get to the engagement, I'm gonna do some counseling. Me personally,
But I mean,
that's just
is
me
engagement
personally.
on your mind? Is engagement on your mind?
Oh yeah. Of course. Yes. Sorry, yeah. We're in a relationship. At that point, I'll be in a relationship.
I actually think pre-engagement counseling, when you're thinking about engagement, is all right, because I think as a person who went through premarital counseling, even recently, I guess in the last 2 years, even if you see something that you don't like, when you've already had a big engagement and it's already been a lot of pomp and circumstance and it's already a big thing, it takes a lot of balls or a really big problem for people to walk away. Versus if you have pre-engagement counseling where you guys are seriously been talking about engagement in a commitment, but you guys want to kind of talk this out before you make that big public display or big personal display, whatever it is, that to me does make sense. But I mean, Kojo, like going to counseling with someone you're just dating.
Well, I think in this instance, one, they're in an a process that's expedited. So yeah, you might see it and think like, oh, it's not serious. But for them, it's serious. Clearly, Morgan is very serious about him, right? And Tony, from all we see on the surface, is serious about her. And I think that we can't discount the fact that although it's a shortened time frame, that they have moved things along. They've already been intimate. And when people have been intimate with one another and they have feelings for each other, they don't necessarily exit those relationships quickly. So we don't have just a random drive-by here scenario where we can just give them the advice of, okay, just walk to your mutual corners and move on, because neither one of them are in that space. They are both trying to make this relationship a go. We can see that it's probably not the best for them two to be together, but they don't see it. So I think that's where we got to get out of our own selves and stop thinking like me, and I'm not thinking like me, and think like Seaway. You have to think like the two people that are in the scenario who are trying to really make this relationship successful. And at the very least, a counselor will be able to talk them through it. And look, if somebody has good health insurance, the therapy ain't going to be that expensive. You know, it ain't going to be that expensive. I mean, I paid like $30 a session. So I don't know what their insurance looks like. I don't know what each one of them independently has. I don't know if OWN would be willing to pay for it. Who knows? Get a Yanla on the task. I'm not sure. But if somebody wants to seek somebody's advice and that person is already whacked and done some really bad things, I wouldn't tell her no. I would say go willingly and see what happens for you, because she's not cutting Tony loose. She cut Lyndon loose. She ain't cutting Tony loose, especially because of the intimacy.
Do you know what? So, man, actually, my last final thoughts on this is, I really do see that point. I really do. I think they're already so far gone. What can happen if you go counseling? You know what I mean? That's what I think to myself. Just, the worst thing that can happen is you see yourself and you realize you're trash. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst thing that can happen. And you see that, what if they're not ready to have counseling, they'll get to the counselor, they'll get to one session. Morgan will say, you're blaming me and I'm not doing this again. And that's as far as it will go. So it might be that waste of one session. But I think I think we should make a habit of going counseling before, guys. It can save us a lot of issues, man. Do you know what I mean? Now it might cost a little something. Maybe we should use the date money for a counseling session that you guys be asking us to pay for. But hey, who am I? What am I? You know what I mean? Because y'all don't pay for it, so we pay for it. So I think you should let the man patriarchally pay for that counseling session before y'all start going on this expensive dates that y'all be asking these men for. But who am I? What do I know? You know what I mean?
Saying anything now.
We can add that to the bill.
You got this bucket. You can say anything.
You could put a service charge on the counseling if you want. But but okay, cool.
Yo, Coach,
yes, Black.
I just want to know that you notice that when Tony had his sister there, when he said, "I think this is the one," how his sister said, "They're all the one." That was a sign to me. That was a sign to me that this is something Tony does. He's not ready for this settle down life, man. I just want to point that out. I know we was kind of focused on, Tony and Morgan, but when his sister said that, she laughed at it. Like, bro, you kidding? You're not trying to settle down. This is not your life.
That's why he needs a counseling. That's why he needs counseling. He got issues with attachment. You see, he would find that out at the counseling session that you got problems with attachment. Come and see Black. Tony, if you're watching, I know you watch. Black says he's offering free sessions. So Black, I expect you to give him the sessions that he needs, okay?
The first one's free.
Yeah. All right, let's shift it. Because there were some other people as well involved in this show, not just Tony and Morgan, but they are really fun to discuss. Let's talk a little bit about Mercedes and Mark Anthony. New York, because Olga heard New York and said, I don't know, maybe Anthony sounding a bit better now. Maybe I can be a stepmother. But yes, they had their session with his cousin, and I'm confused. When Mark Anthony said, and Mark Anthony, I'm sure they watch, so I want to be respectful, but I'm going to be disrespectful. When your cousin asks if she's been married before and you haven't asked that question, there's nothing freaking deep about that. Just going to be honest with you. If that's the baseline for what we're asking as deep questions, sir, we're in trouble. In fact, you know what? The counseling we have for Tony and Morgan, we need that for Mark Anthony, Mercedes, because if that is what deep is, I am only standing in the water, not swimming in it, because God of mercy, that's not deep at all to ask somebody whether they've been married before or not. He said, I haven't even thought to even ask her that. You didn't think to ask that after you made a joke about her being your future ex-wife? Okay. Anyway, let's get the thoughts in. I want to hear what you guys have to say. See, why are you looking at me for? Mark Anthony and Mercedes. What's your thoughts? New York. What's you ladies and guys' thoughts? Who wants to kick off the show for me? Go for it, V.
Yes, I don't think that Mark Anthony is being serious about Mercedes at all. You can even tell by the way he approaches her on the dates. If you pay attention, he put on a whole three-piece suit when you go to meet Jeffrey. But when he's with her, he has on ripped jeans and T-shirts. He doesn't ask any deep questions. They're busy giggling and smiling in each other's face, blowing kisses. But he didn't know if she had been married or not. Probably doesn't even know if she has kids. They did that whole scene with him going to go, Jeffrey breaking up with him. So I don't think he was taking Mercedes serious at all. I think they're playing. And Mercedes made sure she emphasized that she was not looking for marriage. She just was looking for some commitment to have a good time and go to strip club with her man. That's probably what enticed him, the good time. But I don't think he was serious at all. I honestly don't think he really liked anybody on the show, but maybe Jeffrey.
Thank you, V. I forgot to read out the super chats. Let me just read them out really quickly. Kesha L said, couples counseling after 8 weeks of dating equals disaster. I call that a success, actually. Phil Good said, obviously, where are the apologies? Shout out to Phil Good and Kesha so as well. We appreciate you. And Reese C says, I think it's Reese C, but she's going to take him to counseling and the therapist, and she's going to get a rude awakening. Absolutely. Keep the super chats coming. We do appreciate you as well on this show. And if you haven't done so, make sure you guys like. We're 750 people deep on this live, which means you guys are enjoying it. You're sharing it with other people. Keep on sharing it with your friends, family, and whoever else is here. All right, cool, fantastic. Sean, you're next in line because you're next to V, so that's what it was. New York. I love New York. Concrete Jungle's where they're made up. Let me know. What's your thoughts about Mark Anthony and Mercedes?
Again, I think that I think they are on the same page. In terms of where they are. I think the whole New York thing, I'm not sure if his cousin was just throwing a curveball or if that's truly something that Mark Anthony wants to do, or if he's just having a flight of fancy, like, oh, I might do it, I might not. I take him as, from his personality, he doesn't seem to be super, super grounded like
So if he was to move, I don't think that would be super surprising. And if he was to just say, I'm thinking about moving to New York, but never actually do it, I wouldn't be surprised there either. So it just seems in line with his, you know, his carefree type of attitude. I think they seem to have a nice connection. I guess maybe I'm the odd man out. I do think that they seem to be evenly matched on the same page. I think, you know, when they had the kind of marriage conversation, they both had the same kind of answers, stuff that they're not necessarily ready for. I think that his whole experience with Jeffrey was performative to me. And I think when he's with Mercedes, he is his authentic self. And for whatever reason, you know, Jeffrey has lured him in. And I think that, and listen, I'm not saying he's perfect and she's not. I'm just saying sometimes men, when you play in a league that's not new to you and you kind of want to test the waters, he's trying to go along to get along. So he'll put on his little suit and he'll dress up a little bit. It's like, you know, playing dress up in your dad's closet when you're a kid. You know, oh, my dad wears a tie every day. I want to do it too. You know, but at the end of the day, he knows good and hell well that ain't nothing. He don't want no 3 kids. And Andre's sister, whew, she laid out Jeffrey and her little nun habit. She laid her right out, roasted her. But I think like he knew that's not what he wanted, but he's just trying to like see, oh, maybe this is something different. Maybe I can just try it. But, you know, that's my thoughts on that. Will they go the distance? Probably not. Probably not. But I think for right now, they make logical sense.
Love those points. Jay.
I say going through the process, they are the most like free loving and relaxed, genuine types together. I'll put it like that. Will they go the distance? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, they're having fun right now. Both of their answers was giving, I'm having fun in the moment. I'm enjoying the moment, and I'm enjoying the moment with this person. So it is what it is. The fact that he hasn't asked those questions or it was edited, whichever way it went, shows that he's not serious. The fact that he's not serious or she's not serious, because neither one of them seem to give the answers up either way. He not telling her that he's going to eventually move to New York also means he's not serious. And he couldn't be serious about Jeffrey. So I don't even really need to mention that, because if you're going to move to New York and knowing she got 3 kids, no way you was moving her kids with you. So you weren't really serious about anybody, but he is having a good time with Mercedes. I think he does kind of like her a bit. Is it like full on lust, like love for a relationship? No, but I think they'll see where it goes. And if it goes nowhere, I don't think they'll have hard feelings about it at the end. So right now, hey, do you see how it works when you guys both in the real world and you guys got to sync up your timings with each other and really try to give the relationship a go and see where it goes from there? Because right now you don't seem to have really any true glaring toxins that we see spewing out of y'all pores. So let them love and live.
Appreciate Jay. Black, talk to me. New York, Concrete Jungle. Talk to me.
So when it comes to Mercedes and Mark Anthony, I really think that Mercedes is a solid backup plan for Mark Anthony. I think he's going after Jeffrey because he knows Mercedes is going to be there regardless. So if it was the other way around, if he went after Mercedes and lose Jeffrey, I don't know if he's playing the game either. If he's playing the game on the show to make sure both of them stay so he can stay on the show, maybe that's part of it too. But I definitely do see the difference that V was talking about as far as his dress, his behavior is different between the two. He's more chill with Mercedes. He's more uptight when he's with Jeffrey. Jeffrey is on the edge, about to let him go. He don't know that, but to me, I see that she's about to let him go because she can't see him being in that mature role to be there for her kids. So that's a big thing for her. She's mentioned that over and over again. So I think she's playing a game too with him. But when it comes to Mercedes and Mark Anthony, man, I don't think he's taking her seriously, which is unfortunate because she's really into him. But sometimes you can't show that hand, unfortunately. And I think when they were back to the episode when they were working out in that gym, and they got real close and were hugging each other or something. I think Mercedes showed him that at that time that she was really into him. And sometimes, unfortunately, people play games in these relationships and you cannot show your interest in them so soon.
Good points. Oh, see, you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Sure. I'm just gonna be quick. I'm gonna say this again. Mark Anthony is very lukewarm at best to Mercedes. I'm also gonna say, and I've said this before, is Mercedes kind of looking for something light? Somewhat, but she still wants a light commitment. She wants the commitment. She has emphasized commitment time and time again. Does she want a commitment with the strip club, commitment with fun loving, commitment with some go-karts, commitment with no kids? Yeah, all of that, but she still wants commitment. Mark Anthony, I'm not sure if he wants commitment with anyone, let alone, especially not Mercedes. If he's dressing up and putting on suits and ties for Jeffrey, that means he wants to impress Jeffrey. That means he looks at Mercedes and he feels familiar, and that breeds contempt, and that breeds just complacency. And I think he doesn't go out of his way to do anything special for Mercedes. And this is too early to be this complacent. You got to find you a man that at least is going to go to put a little suit on for you in the beginning. And he's doing that for crazy behind Jeffrey with her 3 kids. So I don't know. I don't think he's really, like Corey said, solid backup plan that is actually convincing, because she's not a bad cat. She's a pretty girl. She's somebody he could bring around his friends. All of that. But don't be surprised by the time we get to the reunion, they ain't even talking. Because I think he over here trying to figure out how he gonna get out this jam now that Jeffrey done kicked him to the curb. So Jeffrey is who he wanted to conquer. Was he gonna try to deal with her 3 kids long term? Absolutely not. But that is who he wanted to conquer. Mercedes has made it entirely too easy, smiling his face, licking her teeth, doing all that stuff, not asking no important questions. This is not serious. This is not serious at all.
Thank you, Seaway. It's not serious at all. Fine boy, no pimple. Lorraine, talk to me, because this is your main. Ain't gonna stand beside him.
And that's on everything, okay? No, listen, I've said how Mark Anthony, he's beautiful, and in my 20s, he was my nemesis. He was my kryptonite, so I see him through and through. That whole moving to New York thing, he is planning his escape plan. You know them guys that tell you they're going to war, right? They're going to the army. He is planning his escape. He's not moving nowhere. He's just not checking for our good sis Mercedes, bless her. He likes a challenge like most men do. Men are predators. I don't care what you guys say. You guys love Mercedes. I get it. But men, y'all love a chase. You are predators. You want to hunt. And she's just literally just be laying up like, you know, I'm here, take me. You don't have to work for me, you know. And it's not exciting, right? Not saying that there needs to be challenges or problems in a relationship for it to work, but give me something. It's bland. This relationship is bland. I think she's trying to go for the whole love and basketball narrative. Sorry, that was in the 1998. Like, this is not gonna run now. Give us something. This whole friends thing that she's trying to go with, it's like she's trying to tell him what he wants to hear. Like, seriously, jokes aside, it's as though she's saying all these things. I'm not saying that she doesn't want to have fun and she doesn't want to do all these things, but I think that she's got her mind and her heart set on Mark Anthony, that she's kind of pandering to him a little bit, which is something that you would do to a man who's that beautiful. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, you sometimes you say what you need to say, but I don't think she really means that. I think she wants more than commitment. She wants more than she's letting on. But yeah, he's about to pack up and pretend to go to war when he's going to be in his bedroom sleeping jail.
Thank you, Lorraine. Before I go to Sophie or Queen, I want to go to some of these ambassadors on our panelists. We have 2 ambassadors for Mercedes. So I just want them to give us an ambassador's perspective. So, JR, since Sean was already gone, JR, give us your perspective on Mark Anthony and Mercedes, because you guys are Mercedes-Benz ambassadors. Yeah, they get paid a link and affiliate as well. So go for it.
I think that she said it herself. She's not after anything serious, but she's after commitment. So if Mark
wait, what?
So if Mark Anthony can be committed to her, then I'm sure that's what she did.
That's an oxymoron. What are you talking
That's what she said. That's what she said.
You are twisting yourself into a pretzel with this mess.
What are you talking about?
But that was
That's what she said. That's what she said.
That is what she said.
That is what she said.
So
exactly, she wants commitment. Not, she doesn't have to be deep. Doesn't have to be love and all this other fluffy stuff. She just said commitment. That's what she said. So I think there is I can see where you're saying about him wanting to compete for Jeffrey because he knows Andre's involved. So there may be a competitive element there. But if he is planning to go to New York, he's not thinking about being a stepdad to 3 kids. And the fact that he's seen Andre kiss up Jeffrey in front of him, he wasn't too fazed by that either. So I don't really think he's that competitive. I don't really think he wants Jeffrey, to be honest. He's much more compatible with Mercedes. And yeah, I don't see the what's the opposite of optimism? Like I'm more optimistic for their connection. Let me put it that way. I don't think just because there's no toxicity and no craziness that this relationship can't be valid. They seem to be okay. There's no back and forth. There's no bantering. In fact, this New York thing is the only time that we've seen Mercedes scrunch up her face a little bit and be like, huh? Okay, well, I don't know how that's going to work. But that's a minor hurdle compared to what some of the other couples have had to go through. So yeah, I think they might work.
All right. Just before you go, ladies, just want to make sure. Sean, did you want to add to the ambassador's role? Because he just told us she wants no commitment. She wants commitment, but she doesn't want anything serious. So just to clarify how the plane landed, because you want the plane to land but fly at the same time. So just want you to clarify what he meant by that. Just want to give you the opportunity, just so that Mercedes doesn't feel like she hasn't got anyone on this panel that's
Sean got
bought already.
And Mercedes, he had a heavy plate.
Listen, Mercedes is paying good money around these here because these boys out here are sold. Go on.
Cut it out. Like, seriously,
these boys are sold. Like,
just put some respect on my name, okay? So, all I think is, like, and I've said this, since the beginning, is I enjoy her energy, right? I think, sometimes these, I'm not one of those people where I want to date somebody and be in a relationship and it has to be a whole strategy. We're trying to weigh who's doing what more, when, why, and how much, and what's the quantity. I don't want all that. I'm a simple guy in that capacity where if you into me, I want to know, and I'm going to let you know that I'm into you, and we could just rock on. So I do really like that about her. What I think JR was trying to say, well, at least what I got from it is she does want a relationship, but she also wants to have fun at the same time. So she's not opposed to doing some of those kickback things. Like, she mentioned she'll go to the strip club. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, for her, she's like, we could still be young and have fun. If we have kids, we can drop the kids off with our respective loved ones, and we still going to hit the town. And I mean, all of that sounds very appealing to me. So look, Mercedes, if you watching and Mark Anthony moves to New York and you are really not into that, although I'm in New Jersey, look, we can travel. We have airline miles, and you are in the airline industry. So listen, we can make this good thing a go at it. And I land my plane, literally and figuratively.
Oh, wait a minute. Was that a shot?
And if shots are not taken, they don't get met. Okay, Sophie, go for it.
don't
These
think
boys
he's
are
Steph
ambassadors. I love
Curry.
it.
He think he Caitlin Clark right now. That's who he think he is.
I think
Oh,
that's what
gracious.
a
Thank
lot
you
of the
both.
men like about Mercedes is that she is, as you know, as you recall, a lot of the men were interested in her and have been interested in her because of her personality, her lightheartedness, and she's fun. I think, from the beginning, I felt like they were equally on the same phase and stage in life. So I saw them naturally become a couple. Do they share the same goals for the future? I don't know if they're even on that level to discuss that. I think they're just having fun, enjoying each other. To a certain degree, it is nice that he is a little bit more relaxed around her than instead of putting on airs like he is with Jeffrey. He could be more of himself. But again, in the long term, is he going to put in the effort to make this a serious relationship? Is he going to prioritize her? I don't think they're at that level of even discussing goals. I think they're just like, I like you, you like me, you're attractive, let's have fun. Mercedes probably has more interest in him than he does, even in just the body language. Like she kisses him, she reaches out to him a little bit more when they kiss. I don't know if you've noticed that. And he kind of just sits there and lets her come to him. So that is not a good sign. You do want him to consistently pursue you and continue that for the, however long the relationship lasts. I think Jeffrey is more of a fantasy for him. That's why I always look at them as like an older woman, younger man phenomena, where he's intrigued by her, whatever image she's putting up, even though he might know it's a fantasy, that he might know it's an act, he's drawn to it. It could be, again, it's a challenge. And just the way he looks at her, I don't know if it's an act, but he was extremely just he's mesmerized by her beauty. He's like, oh, you're so beautiful. He just looks at her. Andre called her a princess. And so whatever she's putting out, they're eating it up. They're believing it and they're liking that fantasy, that femininity, which is amazing. But even if it's fake, sometimes people would rather have the fantasy. Just like Morgan, she would rather stick with the bad boy fantasy of Tony than really deal with who he really is. Sometimes it's a safer place for people to be. But I don't know. I've seen them on social media. I think they're still, we're friends, yet we're dating type of, couple right now, Mercedes and Mark Anthony. They might make it. I have a little bit of hope for them.
Go for it, Queen. Thank you, Soph.
I don't have many strong feelings, if any, if I'm being honest. When Mercedes comes on the screen, nothing really draws me to her. Not V nodding. Yeah, nothing really draws me to Mercedes or Mark Anthony. Sorry, I know the ladies love Mark Anthony. Nothing really pulls me towards his direction. Something that did cross my mind, though, is similar to what Sophie said, is they both have this fantasy. And I think it's interesting how Mercedes portrays this whole like, oh, I'm easygoing, I'm airy-fairy, whatever. But she did want Anthony, but then realized what Anthony's looking for, she cannot reach, right? So I think somebody who's put together but still not so put together that it's intimidating is kind of Mark Anthony. But I feel like Mark Anthony's in his vagabond era right now, just kind of like explore the world, do my own thing. I don't really want to settle down with anybody right now, so I don't know how that's going to work out. And then the fantasy with Mark Anthony as well is the whole Jeffrey thing. Like she's got the white picket fence, the kids, the whatever, and he's like, oh well, could I step into that role? But realistically, he cannot achieve the things that she's looking for, so he had to put that facade away. And so, yeah, I don't know. The show doesn't end in marriage or anything like that. So if they end together, that's fine. They can continue to date. They can end as friends. It is what it is.
Thank you, Queen. I just hope that you, everyone here who loves to see them go easygoing, is going to be as easy with the men when they say they just want to be easygoing, committed, but don't want really anything too deep. And I hope you don't overinterpret that he just wants some passoir, okay? Because that's what it sounds like to me, okay? It just sounds like she wants some Delash from cute Delash from Mark Anthony, and this is her covert way of saying it. And you know what? If that is the case, shout out to you, sis, because you had old boy here landing a plane and flying it at the same time. So the wheels are on the floor and lifted up at the same time. So you know, whatever you're doing, Mercedes, I need you to keep on going, okay? Because it's got the boys out here a little bit shirking, you know what I mean? But the reality is, it sounds like old girl just wants some good quality Mark Anthony Cuban Delash. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Haitian.
Yeah, he's Haitian.
He's Haitian. I meant Cuban as in the cigar, but no worries. I get what you mean. I mean, I didn't even know he was. Yeah, because I heard we have a guy in the UK called Mark Cuban. It's just, the name came with quite sweet. It's quite easy to go by. That's why. So apologies, but he's Haitian, so I apologize for that as well. All right. So thank you for telling us that as well. Anyone else want to comment upon this Mercedes Benz situation? Maybe some of the ambassadors want to get their affiliate links up. So I don't know. Do you want to release some more information? Let us know. JR's frozen. JR's frozen. Anyone thoughts, guys? Anyone thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Lorraine, do you want to go to bat for Mark? You want to save him? You know, do you think it's fair? You know, I think. I mean, he's not serious either. To be fair, so I mean, I'm not saying either of them are serious, but he's not very serious. Yes, Queen, go for it. I thought you opened your mic. Sorry. Okay, Lorraine, did you want to save your man?
I'm gonna stand beside him. He knows my Instagram. He knows where I'm at, and that's on that. Okay.
What is going on my panel?
Infiltration. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Like I said, in my 20s, absolutely. No. Mark Anthony is not serious. I'm not going to bat for him. I'm just saying that, you know, their relationship is just bland, right? It's just bland. I'm sorry. You know, not everyone has to be the life of the party. You know, maybe she's just a wallflower. It's okay. It's fine. But their relationship is bland, and that's that. I'm not saying that he deserves better. I definitely think she deserves better, actually. Do you know what I'm trying to say? He's not serious, and he's not ready for anything serious. And I think you'll see very soon after the reunion airs, he will be posted up with a baddie, an IG baddie. I'm telling you about it. I'm telling you about it right now. So, yeah.
So, rotation for Mercedes is what you're saying. Okay, Sean,
Lorraine.
yes?
Yeah, I was going to ask Lorraine. I saw you made a comment that you think Mercedes should take lessons on how to be seductive from Jeffrey. Were you joking or were you serious?
She's serious.
Did I say that?
I think so.
I did not say that.
No,
No one should take lessons from Jeffrey about anything. I did not say that.
Someone said it in the comments, but
somebody is. You're not Lorraine B?
Nope, not Lorraine B.
Oh, so there's another Lorraine. My bad. Yeah, so Lorraine B said that, and now that's exactly what your response was. Is what mine was gonna be. So I was like, me and Lorraine usually on the same page. What happened? What's going on here?
Water signs.
Sick and tired of y'all defending this MA and M situation. Yes. Anyone else want to add their 2 penny pence into this situation?
I was just gonna say, one of the things that I noticed about Mark Anthony is he keeps using the term shorties. Like, that's not the way that you would usually refer to someone that you're serious about, right? And the fact that he's talking about shorties plural means he still is open to meeting somebody else. But for the couples on the show, I think they're probably the best matched. Forget about Jeffrey and all the others. Mercedes is much more his speed, and you know, she's not moving mad. So, you know, definitely take advantage of that.
Love that. All right.
But not her. Don't take advantage of her. take advantage of the fact that she's so nice and you found someone that's not toxic.
Hey boy, you are tweaking, boy. You are tweaking.
Can we just say that everybody keeps saying that Mark Anthony is boring or whatever, but he did give us a classic moment up in this episode when he gonna sit there and be in his confessional talking about, I invited Mercedes to meet my family, but you know who I didn't invite? Jeffrey. Like that was classic. I was like, boy, don't you stop, knock it off. You're too much. Okay, he may be boring any other time, but that was hilarious to me.
And Jay, that was the only passion he showed, and that was towards Jeffrey, not Mercedes.
Once again.
I think JR and Sean can do some recon for us. Let us know. Does she take Mark Anthony seriously? Let us know, guys. And we'll be satisfied with the answer you can give us as well. All right, Lorraine, too, if you could just find out from Mark Anthony if he's actually anywhere near serious towards Mercedes, that would be very helpful as well. And any affiliate links that you guys got, do send them over. I'm sure the crowd would love to support you guys as well and get your little coins up. Okay, all right. Listen, next, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to something as petty as me right now, which is Andre's stop that, coach. Let's talk about Andre and Cynthia and Jeffrey. Let's talk about that situation. I was going to be something petty there. I was going to break my rules. Yes, Seaway, you want to talk first? Go for it.
I'm gonna have to kind of backtrack a little bit.
Wait. What do you mean backtrack?
I'm gonna have to just ease up a little bit off of my opinions on Andre before.
Wow.
I'm starting to think Andre is that guy. He's giving that guy energy.
April Fool.
No, wait. Because that squiggly thing in the front of his head is still a problem. I'm not backtracking off that. But the way he kind of made Cynthia, like, I kept on saying in my head, I'm like, he should be with Cynthia. I mean, like, Cynthia should be what Anthony, and they had a nice connection, and he rubbed her feet, blah, blah, blah. When Cynthia got back in front of Andre's face, and she just melted and was, halfway trying to not cry, his energy, I'm like, he has to be that guy. He has to be it. Because I don't understand this energy. Like Jeffrey want him, Cynthia want him, even though Cynthia got another guy that really likes her. I just want to say that there must be something that when people see him, look, Queenie, I don't think we can see it from the screen. I don't think it's coming from the screen.
I just wanted to say, with your logic, then that would make Jeffrey that girl.
Flawless victory.
The thing is about Jeffrey, I think Jeffrey on the outside to these men, because I said a lot of times, men are very dense. To men, Jeffrey is that girl. It's the women that can see. And on TV, it's a lot easier to see, right? Because we can see now. We're on episode whatever, right? It's been a slow burn, but now we can kind of see that she got a lot of problems. I mean, with that unseen footage scene alone was just absolutely bananas, right? But you could tell that the men don't see it. They don't see it. She is that girl to them. She has 3 kids, and none of the fathers are in their life, and they're still lining up. She is that girl to them. We don't have to like it. Y'all don't have to like it. People can protest in the comments all they want. It doesn't matter. That's how the men feel. And the men always on this panel talk about, y'all can't tell us who to like. Y'all can't tell us who to be attracted to. Well, the men like Jeffrey. But this is not about Jeffrey. Back to Andre. I really believe that he must be that guy the way they are melting around him. I also believe that he must have some coin. Okay? There's a lot of stuff going on. So I just wanted to add that, because a lot of the times, a lot of the guys that the girls want, and we on this side of the screen can't really see what it is. If you see them in person, like, they may have some swag to them. So I won't name no names, but people have some swag to them.
Thank you, Seaway. And you know what? I totally hear you, and I really appreciate, that you brought us men into it to tell us we haven't got two brain cells, and I appreciate that. That's a flag on the play. I'm just gonna let you know that's a flag on the play, but I'll take everything else into consideration as well. So I won't hold that against you.
We
I
just want to
appreciate
help
that,
you
Seaway.
out. It's not personal.
It's never personal. So I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, we appreciate you. And Andre Hare appreciates you as well. All right, for backtracking. Lorraine, talk to us. What's your thoughts? We want to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you, C.
I have to agree with Siwa a little bit here on her opinion on men. I think what I would say is that men are visual beings. You guys are visual beings. You think first with your eyes and other parts of your bodies, right? So when you see, you're not gonna lie. When you see a woman, you're not gonna be like, I like her essence and her aura, and she seems like she's got great qualities, and I would like to take her to meet my mum. You see what you see. So that's why Jeffrey said, ask your brother why a woman with 3 kids, why he wants her, because she knows that she's visually, aesthetically pleasing. She's not dumb, and let's not lie about it. You can say what you want about her character, about the way she presents herself. We say the same thing about Morgan. I don't understand this rhetoric. When we're talking about Morgan, we can all appreciate that she's beautiful, but we also say that she's toxic. Same thing with Jeffrey. She is beautiful and she presents herself in a certain way, and men, fall for it. Some fall and are unable to get up. Okay, they dig that grave so deep they can't get up, and some, it's just a small little dig. So I 100% agree. You are visual beings. Kevin Samuel said it best. In this situation, that's what you guys see. Yes, for you to keep a woman, there's other things that go into it, but let's not lie about it. Let's not lie about the fact that Jeffrey's not good looking. That's what I have to say about that. In terms of Andre, I disagree with you, Seaway. He is not that guy. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm not talking about the physicalities. I'm not here to judge somebody's physicalities. I just do not get what he brings out of these women. It has to be the moolah. He has to have money in the bank. Women, we care about 2 things, and I've said this: financial stability and emotional security. This man has to have some kind of financial stability to back him, because I'm not getting any substance from him. He doesn't talk deep. I don't hear him talking, and I'm here and I'm sensing some kind of depth about him. So there has to be something else there. I was very much disappointed in Cynthia in this episode. Very much disappointed. Because she gave that man far more attention than he deserved. I'm sorry. I'm not saying Anthony's the best thing since sliced bread, but if we're comparing the two, I do think that he's a better option for her. But she gave him more attention. I am going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that one woman had to be eliminated in this episode, so she did what she had to do to stay. So if she did that, and she really, really does want Anthony, then that's fine. We're going to go with that. But Jeffrey, Andre's sister was basically not impressed. That dress did not work. She came thinking that she could fool a woman like she could fool Andre. Wrong tactic, okay? And it did not work, and she was not impressed. But he's still going to pick her because he remembered that Cynthia had 2 kids, completely forgot that Jeffrey has 3. Hello. So he's still going to pick her.
Hadouken! Kojo, can I ask though, why is Cynthia crying? And Cynthia seems to be like a legit solid person, right? We all kind of agree that she's pretty solid. Why is she crying and breaking down and so emotionally attached to this man if he's not that guy? To be clear, I'm saying he's that guy. I'm saying the way these women are acting, They're acting like he's that guy. Anthony's not broke. She could be crying at over where he at.
Anthony won none of that smoke. Anthony won none of that smoke. But I'll let Black answer that because he said he wants to go next. So you can answer that question, Black. What is Andre that guy?
No.
Well,
I'm going to say this though. I want to know where you ladies get your stats from when you say that men look at women in that way. Because if you notice that there were a lot of times that men said that Jeffrey was not the one for them during the course of this season. A lot of them said Jeffrey, I have no connection with Jeffrey. Jeffrey's not it. Jeffrey's not it. But Jeffrey is. I'm going to be really frank here. She's smashable. Okay, she's pretty. She looks good in her outfits. She has a nice body. That's about it. When it comes to longevity, when it comes to marriage, I don't think anyone really sees that in Jeffrey. You know, when it comes to Andre, what makes him this quote unquote the man is because he's well put together, besides the hair. So he looks like he has money. He may very well have money, and that success is attractive to women. So you say men are visual. We're visual because we like what we like. If it's cute enough to do what we want to do, then okay, cool. But it's not to say that that's the woman we go for longevity. Just like women don't go for bad guys for longevity. You have your fun, and then you go and get someone who's like, you know, Steve Jobs, somebody. So it makes sense in that era for me. So for me, I get what C-Way is saying about Andre. He looks well put together. He looks like money. Women are attracted to a man who looks successful. Boom. That's what I get.
Anybody want to challenge that thought process?
I do.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to let you go. Sorry.
Well, go ahead, Lorraine.
You want to go for it? Okay, go, Lorraine. Go on then, quickly, and then we can go. Go on. Respond.
That's exactly what you proved my point. You said that she looks good and she's smashable. That's exactly the point that we're making. We never said that you want to marry Jeffrey or she's the woman of your dreams. We said that you appreciate the way that she looks and you can see that she looks good. We appreciate her character is not up to par to wifey material. We're not saying that. We're saying that you see her, the way that she looks first, before you see other stuff. And then you might entertain her because of the way that she looks. That's what we're saying.
Can I just jump in here, please? All right. So I'm not...
Before you go, V was next. And then
Sorry, go ahead, V. You go.
Right, brother. That's all right.
I know JR is about to tear up Jeffrey because the look of his face. I know he's about to come through with it. But I'm totally going to agree with C-Way and Lorraine. They've been calling her wifey material. They've been saying she's beautiful. They've been saying she's sexy. They've been saying, and this is not ready to get married. It's ready to love. And we know that's barely even happening here. So she is somebody that you could put on your arm, annoying a voice and all, and go somewhere, parade her around. Doesn't have to be your wife, any of that stuff. Or you can take her to the house, do what you want to do, whatever. But these men love Jeffrey. You guys don't like her, but they love her. The only person that liked her at first and didn't like her was Blake. Anyway, but as for Andre, I do agree with C-Way. I think there's something about Andre that exudes money. And yes, the hair is strange, but a lot of eccentrics who have money dress and do strange things to stand out. So him and his candy curl and his feather, I put in the private chat. Mr. T used to have feathers. I went up for it. I'm not liking this feather, but either way, something about Andre they're loving. I think Cynthia is hanging on to Andre because that in the beginning when she connected with him and started crying, I think when were they making candles or whatever they were making, and she connected with him, she's been holding on to him ever since then. So I think she's holding on to him. She may choose Anthony, but something about Andre is making the ladies open up, though to me, he does not seem deep at all. But that's all. Go ahead, JR. You're going to tear her up. Come on.
All right. No, I'm not going to go savage mode. I'm not gonna go beast. But what I was gonna say is, look, I don't think that if the men are looking for a visual, like the most beautiful, the finest girl there, the sexiest girl there, Jeffrey's not that. Yeah, she's not that. What I think is more important is that Andre finds her to be like that. And if he does, then that's why he's riding so hard for her over Cynthia. Because he tried to even, you know, when he was talking to his sister, he was like, Cynthia's got 2 kids. He elected not to talk about Jeffrey having 3. It was like, yeah, but so the sister had to remind him, like, Jeffrey's got 3. So, but you're still choosing her. All right. He just likes Jeffrey. All right. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with, listen, all the guys that she had a connection with eventually, except for Mark Anthony, this episode, but all the guys eventually either wised up like Blue did or DeMario. You know, they wised up and worked out that it's not going to work. I think that she talks herself up to believe she's a wife and to believe that all these men are attracted to her, but that doesn't mean it's true. That's just her opinion. And I think, like I said last week, the thing that makes Jeffrey and Andre work is the fact that they both fluff each other up in that way. She refers to him as biblical husband, and he refers to her as Jeffrey's wife. You know, Jeffrey's the wife. That type of affirmation, that type of energy that they give to each other, like it's like watering each other. So I think that's what makes their connection work. It's not that she's the finest thing out there, because she isn't, not even on the show, not even halfway. So it's definitely a connection that they have where they just both speak life into each other, you know. I think that's more accurate.
Thank you, JL. Queenie, what are you saying?
I know a lot of people like Cynthia, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I will say she did kind of annoy me a little bit in this episode. I forget if it was Andre or Anthony she was talking to, but basically she was like, how could you think we don't get deep? You've seen me cry X amount of times. And I'm like, getting emotional doesn't equate depth. So I don't know where that logic came from. But I did, however, like when she was advocating for herself in the presence of Andre's sister, because I think a lot of the time we look at the products of a union and call it baggage or call it a liability and don't want to address the union itself. She was married to James, wasn't she? So I don't know, but like her saying, okay, you might think I'm a liability because of my circumstance, but I am an educated woman. I have she has 2 masters, she has 2 children, and she has 2 something else, 2 degrees or something like that. So it's like, I just want to be careful in saying so-and-so isn't good enough or worthy because of the product of something without talking about how they got there in the first place. Like, it was in a union. Like we say, oh, like Simone said, don't have babies with boyfriends, and it seems like she did. So how can you fault the girl? A marriage didn't work out. It happens. Let's move forward. That's all I gotta say.
I think Andre has both qualities that Lorraine mentioned earlier that a lot of women are looking for: financial stability, and he has emotional intelligence. So he's very catering to all the women that he interacts with. That could be one of the main things that they are drawn to. He looks good. He's probably taller than most of the men there, bigger, dresses well, is very eccentric. So all of those is check marks, right? So he plays that role. Like, just like Jeffrey, he knows how to sell himself. And JR said, they both fluff each other up, and they probably see each other very similarly. So yeah, so he's very charismatic. He looks good. He probably smells good. He probably drives a nice car. All those things are magnets for women to be like, okay, well, he looks like the alpha man in this group at least, right? So that could be the big draw to Andre. But I personally think that Andre doesn't have a compass about what type of relationship he wants. When he goes towards Cynthia, he's like, I admire you. I like you. I love how you make me, when she says, I care about you, Andre. And he said, I want to hear that. And she's like, I care about you. And he's more, intrigued by her, but it's like he can't meet her at the same level. Like he knows that, I think he's more interested in his career than he is in building a relationship right now. He's having fun. And maybe that's why Jeffrey is, because she's surface level and superficial, that's a safe zone for him. Whereas Cynthia is like, okay, I have a lot more depth, and I want more, and I know what I want. That kind of probably pushes him back, and maybe that's why he's drawn more towards. Yeah, he can't handle Cynthia as much as he is able to handle Jeffrey. So yeah.
Thank you. Jay, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, you caught me?
Yeah.
Making sure you caught me. I'm sorry. Okay.
I did call you, Jay. I did call you.
Yeah, as far as these three goes, honestly, the sit down with the sister was telling enough. The sister is not going to care for anybody with children for Andre, but Andre is constantly making excuses towards Jeffrey. So that's where he wants to be at the end of the day, really. Because when he was even in the men's lounge, he sat there and was telling Tommy that the sister didn't feel comfortable about Cynthia having 2 kids when we know Jeffrey has 3 or whatever. And he goes, the sister don't care for her at all. But he gonna do what he want to do. He already been doing whatever he's been doing with Jeffrey on the side anyway. But I do feel like a little bit of him wants to keep Cynthia around because that's something he hasn't had. So, I don't think he really sees it for her as much as he does for Jeffrey, but she's a beautiful woman. She's a good woman. And I think he just don't want to deal with the baby daddy too much in that, or the father of the children too much in that regards. As far as Jeffrey bigging up herself again, child, that was an epic fail. When the sister asked, what do you bring to the table? And she was sitting there saying, I'm everything to a man. The niece was not here for it. The niece pushed on and went on straight over to Cynthia. Okay, like, you give your answer, please. And then had to turn around and cut to the camera talking about, I feel like I'm being judged. Well, sis, that was a piss poor answer to give, to be honest, or whatever. But I do agree with her on the fact that ask your brother why she is the one out of all the women there, one of the ones, because he got 2 with multiple kids sitting here with him. Now, the answer really is because he done got up in his feelings with Mercedes and cut her all the way off. He would have had Mercedes there and the sisters would have been looking at her, but he cut her off. So that's on him. So his 2 options now is Cynthia and Jeffrey. Now, him talking to Jeffrey and not Jeffrey, but Cynthia, and having that conversation with her, I thought it was kind of pointless because I didn't see no point of kicking Cynthia off the show anyway. And if she didn't get a heads up from Anthony saying, hey, you about to go into this date, lay it on thick real quick so Andre can keep you on here, what we was going to do with Anthony? So I really didn't understand the point of that right there, other than to say, oh, I just going to keep you on here, but I kind of already know what my decision is. You know what your decision is. So we just going to be on here for our people, regardless of what it is at the end of the day. Who I think he's best aligned with really is Mercedes, but Mercedes don't want him. So I don't know what he's going to do. He might choose Jeffrey at the end of this. I have no clue, to each his own, but I don't see it lasting a long time. Hopefully get out before he receives gifts. So, it is what it is.
Thank you, Jay. Who haven't I gone to yet to speak on this? You, Sean? Go for it.
So what I was going to say, and I think Jay touched on this when she was talking, is that I think what happens is Jeffrey talks about herself so much that it's almost like she creates a hype, because I don't know what all the men are. There's only two guys that are at this point really interested in her, and that's Mark Anthony and Andre. You know, she told a story which Blake didn't agree with, that he told her that he wants to be with her, and that's, you know, he saw her as his only option. So again, the only two men that we've seen that are goo goo gaga over her are Andre and Mark Anthony. Blue, who left so early on in the process, didn't seem to be all thrilled with her, you know. So I really don't know who all the men are that are buying her, you know, buying into what she's offering, in terms of this femininity we keep hearing about thrown around. So I'm just not sure. I think it's just she talks about herself so much in a positive light. I guess everybody should have the confidence that she does, that we're buying it. It's like fake news at this point. I'm sorry. But I have not bought into it on this panel, you know, and several of the other fellas are not buying into it. And there's several of the men on the cast too that, from what we can see, they're not buying it either. But she does have two men. I'm not going to take that away from her that do like her. But I think we also just need to put it into perspective before we start making a grand statement that really is not the case. I do think, I don't know what, Cynthia, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're missing, because she really seems very much attached and torn with and wanting a relationship with Andre. Now, I remember last episode when her and Anthony kissed, she was like, she said she would only kiss the person that she was finally settling on, because she did not want to be kissing a bunch of men in this process, which I can respect. But now I just don't understand, like, why is it the competition? Because even Cynthia, which we haven't seen in this part yet, was throwing shade at Jeffrey's way. So I was shocked to see her talk that way. I mean, it was funny, but I was just shocked because she normally doesn't fire shots like that. So it just kind of threw me for a loop in terms of, is she getting caught up in the competition of the show? Or, you know, like, if you really have a better connection with Anthony and you see that you two can go the distance, why are you caught up in what Andre has going on with Jeffrey? So that for me kind of made me just look at her a little bit different. I mean, Cynthia is fine though. I mean, the way she showed up, you know, to the meeting with the sisters and her conversation, her talking points, she gonna nail it if she don't do nothing else. When she hit him with, I got 2 masters and 2 businesses and 2 bachelors, I'm like, talk your talk, sis. You know, and I think that's the kind of boss energy we don't mind in a woman, right? Like, we enjoy that energy, right? But not like I'm a boss bee and I blah, 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 blah. But she's confident in what she has. She is stable. She was like, I don't need a man to take care of her kids, which I thought was great. Now, where she did falter for me was when Anthony, I think it was Anthony's best friend and cousin, asked her about the relationship with her children's father. And she was like, don't worry, I got this. Well, no, you didn't have it. You didn't have it on the interview. You know, when they met, you didn't have it. So let's not be so cautious. You know, I want us to also self-reflect and say, hey, listen, it's a work in action. He does want to see me happy. But trust me, we will continue to work and ensure that the boundaries are in place. But don't just talk like, oh, I got this. No, you don't have it and you didn't have it. So there is some room for you to kind of do a little bit better. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Go for Black.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go yet. I want to say this. Cynthia's wordplay is almost phenomenal, to be honest with you. She has the words for you. The thing about Cynthia that I liked is the fact that she could smell Andre was about to eliminate her. And she did what she had to do. She said what she had to say to make sure that he saw what she saw. So I can respect that. But when it comes to the meetup between Andre, Cynthia, and Jeffrey, when Cynthia came in, she greeted Andre by saying, hey, husband. I thought that was interesting for her to say that. And she says that she still has a thing for Anthony. So that's pretty bold, big and bold to say that. I I do want to talk about Jeffrey's dress really briefly. I think it was very becoming of a church lady, and I feel like she had her prayer cloth in her bag. But Jeffrey did look nice. She dressed very well, so as she mostly always do. I think that Andre should have interjected when his sister kept going in on her, though. Like, if it's somebody you're attracted to, this somebody you like, the way his sister went in, or like, you got 3 kids, none of the dads are in their lives. She was just going in on her. I do talk about also the question, because this has been something that's been going around a lot lately, as far as the question of what do you bring to the table? You hate it when men say it, but when the sister asked that question, it was valid. It was understood. It's okay for that to be said. No one has any disruptions about her actually asking that question. So, and then you have the responses, the different response between what Jeffrey said versus what Cynthia said. So Jeffrey's answer is what we as men, I speak for myself. I don't like that answer. I don't like that I am the table. Comfort, that type of answer. I bring a lot, but you're not telling me anything. But you have Cynthia that gave it all to you as far as what she can bring. Whether it's important to you or not, I just like the way she was able to articulate what she can actually bring to the table. So to me, I think that the meetup was okay. I just wish that Andre would have stood up for the women if his sister was going in so heavy like that, because he did say that he was the alpha, but the sister seemed more alpha to me than Andre. Just my opinion.
You know what? Yeah, this Cynthia and Jeffrey situation is so interesting. Jeffrey, I think after studying her a little bit through the seasons, what Jeffrey brings to the table for these men is she's a chameleon. I'm gonna tell you straight, she's a chameleon. Okay, so what she does is whatever her environment is, she blends into that environment. Right? It's very clever. I can't even hate on it. Game is game. Yeah, I'm gonna give her plaudits, because game is game. She finds her environment, she blends into her environment, and then she gives whatever that particular man needs. Right? So that scenario with the sisters, when she came with that dress, sister needs to come in that dress. She could have worn jeans and a top, and it would have still been respectful. But she came in looking like holy art thou, because she knows the 3 kids gonna be an issue. Okay, so she's like, no, I'm pious and I'm nice, and then, so she does what she must in order to make sure she survives in her environment. Secondly, we have to talk about this about certain men like the chicks that are that need help. Okay, that always cry out need help. Yeah, it speaks to their protective instincts. Jeffrey offers that to the men, right? I need help. Help me. I can't do it on my own. There's a reason why people like anime characters. Now, I'm being deadly serious. There's a reason why there are certain men in this world that love to get excited about anime characters. You know why? Because that innocence, that naivety, that greenness about the girl character. Do you know what I mean? Oh my God. Like they talk that particular voice. It does something to them, right? Because it speaks to the ego of that man. She's soft and she's feminine and she's dainty, and she just needs saving. You know what I mean? She is a princess. Save me, yeah, save me. Yeah, and it's like that speaks to a lot of men's instinctive, protective instincts, right? So that's what gets these men going. So that's why that voice keeps going. She's figured it out. She's figured out her superpower is similar to what Marilyn Monroe. The reason why people like Marilyn Monroe, her seduction technique is that she had this innocence to her, almost in a sense. It became sexy, right? Nothing horrible about it. It's just a seductive aspect on aura that she carries. She has worked it out and has maximized it to the hilt. So when she gets around these men find themselves falling prey to that particular seduction. So shout out to her. Okay, all right. Shout out to her. I'm not even gonna be mad at her. Let her do what she do. Okay. All right. Continue doing what you do. All right. And I ain't mad at her. Jay.
That's that anime. That's that anime. You know they be on there. Oh yeah.
You threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
didn't know what
I was about to start praying like, whose fuck is that? What they watching?
It sounds like something else. I don't know what's going on over there, Jay.
Yeah, like
That
I
anime.
really.
If y'all really watch anime, you know.
No, I don't want it. It's a fetish too.
Yeah,
you know
anime go
it's
down.
a fetish. JR, you are out of control.
Get JR out
I'm
here.
not going to say what JR said.
I know what he said.
Goodness, that is hilarious.
I'm not involved in that.
Marilyn Monroe is a stretch. I'm sorry.
No. She's not Marilyn Monroe. Her seduction, the voice, everything. That I don't know what I can't remember what her seduction is. Part of seduction. If you read the art of seduction, you'll see it. Marilyn Monroe, one of her seduction techniques is the fact that she was innocent.
Oh, no, I know what Marilyn Monroe, but I'm saying I don't see them in this. It looks fake. Marilyn Monroe is like a coquette, like it's like innocent, and she flips her hair, and
yes,
she's sexy.
That's Jeffrey,
and.
That's Jeffrey.
I don't see her.
No. Remember, we don't get moved by it because that's not our seductive aspect. That doesn't make me seduced.
I would get seduced by Marilyn Monroe. I also think like Jessica Rabbit.
Sean, would you see Jeffrey better as Betty Boop?
Betty Boop. Yes, I see that.
Maybe Betty Boop mixed with Harlequin because. She's like mean to me.
I like Harlequin,
people.
No.
Wait. Let me finish.
Stay with Sean.
Wait. Let me just get this out. I think the point is that I see with her is it's like if she was just like the blonde that was just nice and like and flipped her hair and was looking the way she looked, I could get it. But she's also mean. So for me, those women just play like they play dumb and maybe they're manipulating behind the scenes, but you don't see the meanness. I see the meanness with her, and that's why I don't equate her to like a Marilyn Monroe.
Now,
Monroe,
Kojo, wait, stay with Sean on that Harley Quinn though. The Harley Quinn in the cartoon, because remember she had a soft voice too. Oh, Jay, Mr. J, and she do that all the time and stuff. Like that's what he's talking about. That's that innocence you're both talking about with the dark side to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see Harley Quinn because she blows ish up, and she will rain hell. So I can see that.
But it's her voice changes when she's talking to Sue versus when she's talking to men.
Of course. But Marilyn Monroe did the exact same thing as well. Listen, if you read the Art of Seduction, you will listen that she actually changed her voice. So that rasp that she has, it's all forced. It's not real. It's an illusion. And she put it, and she learned that because the directors were telling her, listen, you need to be able to play this role. So she learned not only how to do the voice, but she learned how to walk as well. She should walk in a particular way. It's all fake. She just learned how to do it to seduce.
Right. I guess that's not what I'm saying. Of course, Kojo, I completely understand the art of seduction and who Marilyn Monroe is, but I don't see her in the same category as someone like a Jeffrey. That's what I'm pushing back on.
Why wouldn't you see them in the same category? What is the difference between the two of them?
Because I don't see her as a true seductress. It just seems completely phony and like it's
working.
It's glaring.
But it's working. No, it's glaring for me and you. We're not. That is not our weakness, bro. I'll tell you, it's worked on a lot of the men. Listen, okay. even though I agree that they didn't choose to want to marry her per se, it still worked that they were seduced. Even Blue, before he got to a point, it was only when he got to the end where he heard her story about baby daddy. He's like, yeah, okay, this is where I jump off. But before then, he was attracted to. That's all we're saying. So I'm not saying that. Listen, I see right through her. We saw her from the very beginning. You did too. A lot of people did see right through her from the beginning. Do you know why? Because it's not unnecessarily our seduction aspect. See, I like Morgan. You already know this. I like that toxicity, but I also understand that that's when I look at art seduction, she falls into that category of things that I find as a weakness. So you have to understand that you may not find Jeffrey that way, and I would agree with you. I do not find Jeffrey that way. I would look at it and be like, what's his voice you're doing? It's just dumb. For me, that's what it would look like. But for people like Andre, Blue, and a couple of other guys, they fell for it, unfortunately. And it's not because necessarily that they're bad. It's the fact that, listen, that seduction thing speaks to them. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So I'm not saying that she's has to be the most amazing seductress. I don't think Marilyn Monroe was that fine either. Okay, but the certain community, okay, they fell for her. Okay, all right, they fell for her. It is what it is.
I would too, just like the character Jessica Rabbit. And look, we all just tussled a couple of days ago over
Jessica Rabbit ain't Marilyn Monroe.
Hmm?
They're two different. Jessica Rabbit ain't Marilyn Monroe now.
All I'm just saying is, and then there's Kirsten, right? Because y'all were fussing and tussling with me, but for me, she is alluring, so it's not like that doesn't appeal to me. I don't resonate. I don't see her in that category. That's all that I'm saying. To me, it's just phony. It's fake. She's creating a facade to try to, mask what the issues are. It doesn't even come off to me like, oh, she's mean. She's mean to Sue-Ann. She's mean to she's creating lies. She's aligning with Morgan to talk about Blake. Like, for me, I don't see that as femininity and seduction. I see that as somebody who's manipulative and mean, and she does have an attractive facade. I can't deny that. But yeah, that's the part that I guess I'm missing from those connections with those women that are seductive.
Can we agree that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that two things could be right at the same time? Because it's kind of like what CUA was saying earlier with Andre. There's something that is in the physical realm of being in front of a person's face that makes them more attractive than us seeing them on TV a lot of times. It's something about the way that they're treating the other person, the energy they're giving off to the other person, something about the little things that they're saying that we're not seeing and we're not privy to, that they're doing to attract these people. Both Andre and Jeffrey have been attracting multiple people. So there's something that, even though we're picking up on different energies or seeing different things, like for most of us women, Andre's hair is a distraction. But if we look past the hair, he's probably a safe place where Cynthia feels like she's able to cry all the time. And Jeffrey feels like she can actually get him to take care of 3 kids. And there's something about Jeffrey that if we look past her negative attitude and her annoying voice, that there's something sexually appealing to men about her. So you both are right. Like everybody up here is right about this whole thing about these two. There's something that is attracting other people to them. At the same time, we're not all here for them.
I hear you on that. Interesting. Yeah, good debate. I like that because, it's a good conversation. I'm going to have to read the art section all over again now because it's got me thinking about that situation as well. So I'll definitely come back to you guys with some video on that. Who's opened the mic? Go for it.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Marilyn Monroe conversation. So I'm not sure if you guys actually know the 7 archetypes of women. So Marilyn Monroe is more of like the maiden, young, youthful girl next door. And I believe that Jeffrey is more sort of tries to portray the mystic role, sort of mysterious, seductive, spiritual kind of woman. So I do think I understand where you're coming from, Kojo, in terms of that her alluring factor, but it's of a different factor to what Marilyn was kind of portraying. Marilyn was more kind of like youthful, maiden kind of vibe, which is different to the mystic role that I believe that Jeffrey is trying to play.
Anyone else got any additions?
Yeah, Jeffrey's an actor, and that's why she's able to play multiple roles for the audience, like you said, Coach. That's the comedian element. She's able to blend in and basically play a role of who she thinks you want her to be. So when she was there at the table, for example, with the sister and the niece, she wanted that answer to really resonate with them. Like when they asked her what she would bring, she was like, "I'm everything to all men," or something like that. She thought that was going to land. And I was looking at the facial expression when she was listening to what Cynthia was talking about. And man, it's like she was a bit like out of her comfort zone because she really botched that, like she really flopped on that answer. As Andre is able to connect with her because I think he's very performative as well. I'm not saying he's as dramatic as she is, but there is a level of him believing himself in a way that puts him above other people. He doesn't say it, doesn't come across condescending, but it's still just the way he carries himself. All right, he carries himself with a certain amount of class and eloquence, right? And or in his mind, I think he does, and that could be to do with his wealth and his entrepreneurism and all that stuff. Do I think that their connection is fake? No, I think their connection is genuine. I think it can work, providing that they keep watering each other, like I said. And the snide comments she makes is only when she's pressed or she feels insecure or jealous about someone. She doesn't exhibit that with Andre at all. She's a completely different person with Andre than she's been to any of the other classmates. She hasn't said anything bad about him. She hasn't tried to undercut him, or even in the confessional, she's never said anything bad about Andre. So I think the connection is definitely genuine on her side. On his side, I think he tried to cover her to a degree with the sisters because he knew that, he even said he's afraid of the sister, like what her reaction is going to be. So I think he tried to cover her to some extent. And at the end of the day, he's still going to choose her. So it is what it is.
So I guess I just want to clarify too, because we spent a lot of time talking about looks to a certain degree, you know, and I mean, listen, I don't want to get it misconstrued. Jeffrey is an attractive woman, right? As much as there's aspects of her personality and some of her behavior that I've seen that I do not like, I do understand and see her as a woman that is beautiful. Okay. So I just want to put that out there for the record. I want to make sure I'm clear when it comes to that. You know, I don't want to get into a thing where we're tearing her looks down, or that it comes off that, you know, I trying to destroy her character. There's some serious character and behavior flaws that me personally just don't resonate with me and that I don't like. And I think it goes to disprove, unfortunately, Seaway is gone, that not all men are dense, and that we can definitely see character and behavior and then make a decision about that, right? Despite the exterior, which does initially attract us, right? But if the you know, the inners don't match the outers, and I'm talking about her inner personality and character, if that doesn't match, then we're not going to hang in there. And then I think what does also happen is sometimes women misinterpret that man's interest because of her beauty, as though we are fooled by her character, and we're not, because men in many instances will make a different, you know, decision physically. Doesn't make it right, but men will make different decisions physically, right? So we may have sex with you or be intimate with you or be in a very short-term relationship knowing we're going to get in and out because we're attracted to the physical, but don't think we're fooled or we're dense because we had sex with you or that there's a short-term relationship. No, we see it, but we have a bigger plan. And sometimes, some guys, not all, some guys will get in and get out because they're more interested in the physical than anything else. So again, doesn't make us dense, doesn't make us probably, you know, wise and good stewards of our bodies in those instances, but it doesn't mean we're dense and that we're foreign to the things that are going on. So trust and believe that part. I also thought it very interesting. I know we've talked a little bit about Andre and Cynthia. I don't know, for him to kind of double back or backtrack a little bit and not let her know that he was not going to be moving forward with her, to me kind of makes me, you know, things that make you go, because he was supposed to be, you know, letting her know that it was going to be him moving forward with Jeffrey. Now, mind you, from what I understood, she could still move forward with Anthony because they had a connection. So I'm not really sure. And then I almost saw, like, when she was talking to Andre, she kind of sensed that she knew what he was about to do. And then she again did all those Cynthia-isms and said all the right things to kind of try to change his mind. So I don't know. That was an interesting plot twist for me as well.
Personally, I think I think Andre, I think there's something deeper with the reason why Andre wants her. I think his sister is the key to why he wants her. That sister looks hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. Not that she's bad. I'm just saying she looks hard. And when that does happen, it tends to be if the sister is that hard, tends to be that the parents were probably that hard too. You know what I mean? It's giving. We put food in your back, we put food in your stomach, clothes in your back, and pay for the rent and a roof around your head. That's the kind of energy sister's giving that her parents that their parents gave, right? Because when someone's that hard, it usually is that they're so, you know what I mean? It's like we ain't got time for the emotion stuff. Like it's logic, you know what I mean? But it looks like he's not that. Him coming after her makes a big difference. Like sometimes when that sibling at the top is very hard as well, the other siblings can become very, very soft. Because you know what I mean? Because they didn't get the full brunt of that energy as parents kind of calm down as they get a little bit older. You know what I mean? And I feel like whatever he might have been requesting from quote unquote parent is what he's actually giving to Jeffrey. So that protection energy is probably what he might have wanted. It's why he's giving it to Jeffrey. He can see someone that needs saving, he goes to save them. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm really thinking about being serious in a relationship, Jeffrey's coming with 2 baby mothers, and a sketchy story with it. Yeah, me personally, when I hear that, I'm hearing Titanic Jack, and I'm hearing Rose, and I'm hearing you pushing me off the board. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything else apart from do 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 do. That's all I'm hearing. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So if that's the case, what I'm seeing from Andre is that he wants to save Jeffrey. There's this incessant need to save her, almost in a sense, right? Because there ain't no way you're gonna tell your sister, yeah, but she got 2 kids, and then forget that Jeffrey has 3. You sound like Captain Save him. You sound like Captain Save him. And I think the sister can be aware of that and sees that and knows that, right? But it sounds like he's got a lot of money. I think he has made it. I think he's got a decent amount of money. And I think that's tough. So the reason why the reason why he doesn't choose Cynthia over Jeffrey is because I think what he's banking on is Jeffrey returning that emotional energy. From Cynthia, he's given it and it's not returning. Because Cynthia wants to feel soft and feel like she's feminine. She's already hard. No offense to her, but she's already hard. She's already got her guard up a little bit. She has to be broken into a little bit in terms of her emotions and stuff. That means I'm going to spend my time investing in you to get back that energy. I already had that situation with my sister. You too similar to my sister. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying to you, right? Because the first thing he said about his sister was, I know she's going to be hard. Well, that's the same thing he's going to get with Cynthia. He's going to have to break down walls. For him, that's not going to work for him. So it's always that Cynthia was always going to be second because the energy she puts out, it's familiar, but it's not the one that he wants. And Jeffrey, as a chameleon, can see that. It's like, well, I'm going to lie to save me, but I'm also going to make you feel good. I'm going to prop your ego up. I'm going to gas you up. I'm going to encourage you, make you feel like the man that you needed, which is what he needs. I'm not saying Cynthia can't do that, but what I'm saying is Cynthia's also got that deficit where she needs the man to be strong so she can be weak. He's tired of being in that place. You know what I'm saying? He don't want that. So it's a tough one. I can see why he would go for Jeffrey over Cynthia in that instance. But I like Cynthia. I think she's a cool girl, and she's always ready for a question. Like, you put a question to Cynthia. If I ask Cynthia why is the sky blue, even if she doesn't know the answer, she will tell me a good answer. I trust in her. I believe in her. That girl is a killer in the boardroom. I can tell, because you ask her something, she goes straight to the point, and no messing around that as well. So shout out to her as well. I do I do like her energy as well. You know what I mean? Yes, Sean.
Koja, one thing I did pick up on too, when they went on the date, when her and Anthony went on the date, I I didn't hear, and again, I know it's some things get left on the cutting room floor, but I didn't hear her really say the things that she would do. I didn't hear her, like how women in her position that want to be married and want that relationship will say, when I get home, I want to take off the armor, right? I don't want to be the boss when I get home. I think somebody even said it in the comments too, that she looks like she might be a little bit bossy at home. And I could kind of see that assertiveness not being turned off, because and look, trust me, we've had conversations here. I'm a true romantic guy, and I love to do wonderful things for a woman that I'm in love with. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it doesn't always have to be met with reciprocity. But in this moment, like when they had that little date, and as gleeful as she was, and he was like, so how are you going to be? I didn't hear her say like, okay, I'm going to take care of you too. And these are some things that I'm going to do, to make sure that when you come home to a happy home. Right. So if you were doing things like this, she was more so like, oh, I want these picnics. We got to keep it consistent. We got to keep all these dates going. I want to make sure I'm courted, which is fine. But I didn't hear the parts from her that as men make us feel good and warm, coming on the other end. So I think that to me was like, is this going to be all about her? And she's going to be like bossy when she gets home too. And that could be a little bit of a concern. And maybe Andre is picking up on that. Whereas on the other foot, Jeffrey is gonna baby talk him to death and me, and carry on the way she does, which is not gonna be that kind of strong energy.
I mean, I'm with you, bro, and I think man to man, I think I do agree with you on that point. I don't get that I don't get that energy. I'm not saying I'm not even saying that Cynthia wouldn't do this, by the way. I think she probably would serve back the same way, but I just feel like you're saying, bro, I think, sometimes you got to show it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to show that energy. You got to show that reciprocation energy. It can't just be spoken of. It's got to be shown. And if it's in you, it's in you. And if it's something you're going to try to do, yeah, that too, you can say it, but we want to see the evidence of. Do you know what I mean? So as much as I might not like Jeffrey's character, what she is good at is making sure that you as a man are getting your ego filled. Do you know what I'm saying? And as a man, listen, some of you ladies don't know how to praise the ego of a man at all. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I love you ladies, but some of y'all don't. Y'all be saying y'all don't need any more than you already got. You already got your ego is filled already from the world. You already got validated from the world. And then it's like, yo, we want to be propped up too. You know what I'm saying? We want to be propped up. We want to be encouraged. We want to be able to say that, what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate you, like, and be shown that. I'm not saying Cynthia doesn't do that at all. What I'm saying is that Jeffrey seems to walk in that. And for someone like Andre, maybe might be a little bit of a high achiever, and maybe necessarily might not have never had that when in the home, Jeffrey's speaking his language all the way. You know what I mean? And that's what's causing him to keep going to Jeffrey, because you're going to see, I'm going to drop a video tomorrow. I did a video from the last episode that they were talking, and when he was talking to Cynthia, his biggest issue, he thinks he's deep. And Cynthia's like, I want to be married. I want to be able to get deep. But the way he was talking, I was like, well, if you have to say that, if he has to convince you that he's deep, I was like, then he's not deep. You know what I mean? He's just not deep. Cynthia, he's not deep. So, but yeah, I just think to myself, sometimes guys, we do want to have that woman that just gives you a bit of that good energy, that just says, you know what, I'm feeling you, you know what I mean? Wants to come up on you, and it's not gonna be pressed about getting all over you, and you know what I mean, allowing you to kind of listen as much as it is. Listen, hey, this is just me personally, I can see that you can open the pot, but you're like, babe, can you open the pot? I'm like, oh, okay, well, it gasses you up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know you can do that, they know they can do it themselves, but when they get you involved in stuff, it's just nice to be consulted. And I think that's what Jeffrey does offer, even if it is a bit fake. It's just nice to have that offer on hand. You know what I mean? Hopefully I'm making sense. You get me? Any other thoughts? Yes, Sean. You want to say
something? I think, listen, I guess just for clarity, I'm not saying she can't do it and that she won't. It's just that I don't see the evidence of it. Because you can say it And yeah, there were some scenes earlier on where she says, you can wear the briefs and I'll wear the panties. Yeah, she said that. But it's one thing when somebody to actually do it. And I think, and that's on both sides. And I'm sorry, I think because she's so used to closing deals, because she's so used to executing and running her businesses extremely well, because she's got, you know, 2 masters, right? She's used to speaking, showing, you know, saying certain things, but how easy is it going to be for her to take that off when she gets home? And I just saw a glimpse of it when she had that date with Anthony. Now, we've talked about Anthony and his personality and things of that nature, and how maybe with the right guy, perhaps she could fall more into her feminine. I don't, you know, this conditional femininity for me, I'm just not a fan of it. But ultimately, what I'm seeing from that is she might have a challenge in that, in being able to let her guard down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, what you want to add? Did you want to add? Go for it.
Oh my gosh, I forgot what the question even was.
To be honest, we were just talking. We were just talking.
Okay, we're still talking about Cynthia, Jeffrey, and Andre. I think that Cynthia is gonna choose Anthony. I think she's in competition with Jeffrey for whatever. Based on the behind the scenes things that I've been seeing, it seems like there's 2 camps of girls that are kind of against each other. So I think just to one up Jeffrey, she's kind of humoring Andre. I think she did feel some type of way because he did all that. He listened to her cry about her childhood and all that good stuff. But I think she genuinely is a CEO, a boss, right? And she doesn't lose. So she's coming through and making sure she lets everybody know that she's the better candidate no matter who she's against. I personally love Cynthia. She's my Haitian princess. But there was a few scenes in there where I'm like, ooh, okay, she's going for the gusto too. She's definitely competing. I don't really see what they see in Andre. I guess I feel about Blake how JR feels about Jeffrey, but I don't want to get crucified on this channel. But either way, I don't see, none of the guys on this show have really, I didn't like this season of guys or whatever, but either way, if I had to choose between them or whatever, and it was between Andre and Anthony, I would definitely choose Anthony, even though he seems performative. I mean, but he was rubbing feet on the beach. So I was here for it. So he set up a nice date. So yeah, I don't think Cynthia really wants Andre. I really do think she just wants to one up Jeffrey. So
any last thoughts, boys? JR's got something going.
I was gonna say, like, listen, for Anthony to rub feet, that is huge. That is a very intimate, sensual thing to do. So I know a lot of people don't buy Anthony, or they don't think he's got much substance. But yeah, I think he just knows who he wants, and I think he has that thing where, you know, you take your work personality home with you. So he comes across as maybe quite serious, but also he's the type of person that could just sit there quiet in the room and not say nothing to nobody. So I think Cynthia is better matched with him. Maybe there is a competitive element with Jeffrey, but, you know, Andre is not going to deal with Cynthia's baby father. And as much as Anthony likes her, he even indicated that that's the only thing, that's the only problem he has with Cynthia, the baby father. That interaction wasn't cool. And I know she said a few times now that she can handle it and all that stuff, but he does seem quite overbearing. So even if she can stand her ground, it seems like there's going to be a constant tussle while he's present. and Anthony might not want that, but at the same time, you know, they do have shared experience. They are both parents. They both have career and things like that going well for them. So, you know, I really have a good feeling about them. Probably my favorite couple is actually Anthony and Cynthia at this point, followed by Mark Anthony and Mercedes, and then I'll say Jeffrey and Andre. I think those are the three solid couples that are going to make it through.
Okay. Listen. All right. Well, listen, we you're right there, Sean. You went for a dip.
What you say now?
Look like you went for a dip, bro. Like a dip of food, bro. You're right. Yeah.
No, I ran to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. So where you like your head came up. Okay. But all right, let's round it up then. Let's round it up. Let's round it up. Dunbar just hit me up, guys. So we'll see what we can do. We're gonna get him onto the show. Okay, we're gonna try to get him onto the show. Oh, you don't watch Put a Ring on It, but it's on Put a Ring.
Oh, that,
Yeah,
which
we're
one
trying
is
to get
he? Which one?
He's
is
the one
he?
with Chance.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
I'm trying to
one
get him on.
that he was sending the guy to bring him food.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get him on.
But I remember that episode.
I'll try and get him on. But let's get Sean. Let's get this benediction going because.
Well, I hear benedictions are popular across YouTube. The YouTube waves now. Eh?
Listen, I mean, yeah, it's working it. It's working it. It's working it.
Hey, it's catchy out here. Hey, we like it, huh? We're gonna have to up the ante a bit, huh? Well, listen, you know, God loves prayer, right? And he loves to be worshipped. So we celebrate anybody that does that. But when we think about these relationships and the couples we talked about tonight, I think, oh boy, we had definitely some level of tussling. And I think that's good because when we think about the benefit of arguments and when we really think about those in terms of relationships, you should be able to hear other sides, right? And when you hear the other side, it should help you to hear the other person and take a little bit of what they have to share. So I think it's super, super important that when you are in disagreements with your significant others, that you listen to understand and put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? So we got into a very heated exchange. Some felt therapy was needed. Some felt it was absolutely not. However, I think walk in the other person's shoes. Right? You know, we can think from our perspectives, but sometimes let's walk in somebody else's shoes. And that way we can walk and exercise in a little bit of empathy. And empathy goes a long way in relationships. Not to be taken advantage of, but to be understood and help so that person feels understood at the end of the day. However, if, you know, we always say this, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And if you're seeing a sea of red flags, you probably need to, you know, run, not walk in the opposite direction. So Morgan and Tony, you know, when you pulling other people into the madness and the toxicity and marring people's reputation just to uplift your relationship, it's a little sticky for us. So please, please, please don't pull other people down into your relationship drama. You know, have a clean start, a healthy place for your relationship. You want it built on a strong, solid foundation. Mark Anthony and Mercedes, we love the light. So far, there's no shade, no drama with the two of you. So let's just continue to push forward, you know, and make decisions. Make sure you're aligned and make sure you have the same expectations. Somebody can't be going to New York and somebody staying in Miami because that's not a good foundation of communication either. So we need to have really good conversations and communication and be on the same page, right? Very important. We think about the whole Jeffrey, Cynthia, Andre, you know, triangle. Look, go where you're appreciated and not where you're tolerated. That's what I'll say with that. You want to make sure you truly appreciate it. You also want to make sure that before you settle into a relationship that you're not at the representative stage. We all have a representative. We all have them. I do, you do, we all do. But when we move forward into a relationship, especially one with love being the outcome, the desired outcome, we want to lift that veil and allow ourselves to be and be seen. So please make sure you've met not just the person you're in a relationship with, their representative, but you've met the true and the real person. So let the real person please stand up. Jeffrey is beautiful on the exterior, but I really want to see the real Jeffrey. I want the real Jeffrey to stand up. So moving right along, I think ultimately we all have to let our guards down to be in love. When we think about Cynthia and Anthony, we've got to move past those hurts. Our job can't be at the pinnacle and the forefront of who we are. We need to lead in love, learn in love, and truly walk in love. Back to you, Kojo.
Oh yeah, arigato.
I need Jay to pipe down. Listen, before we go, guys, we like to, do a little something, because I just for a little question out there for the $5 cash apps. So I got 2 questions for y'all guys. Okay, I got 2 questions for y'all guys today. Okay, we're gonna do a little. Okay,
Greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, raw, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, raw, beans, greens, potatoes.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Not Jay flashing her camera. Not Jay flashing her camera. All right. Time for a little question time for y'all folk. Okay. A little $5 cash app game for y'all guys. Okay. So get your fingers at the ready. I have 2 questions for you guys. 2 questions for you guys. We keep it simple. The answers are real simple. Okay. We keep it real simple. All right. First question. First person to get it gets a $5 cash app. Okay. Question is, who's thinking about moving to New York? Who is thinking about moving to New York? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, the first person I got was Druzy G. That's on the first one I got on my list. So Druzy G, she said Mark Anthony. That is the correct answer. Druzy, make sure you give me your cash app so we can send you a little bit of money. This is for my panelists, because I'll be leaving you guys out and y'all be crying at me. So I'm gonna have to treat you good a little bit, you know what I mean? Don't want to lose you to the competition now. We're gonna keep it real simple once again. And I want to ask this particular question as well. Okay. Here we go. Fastest person to the buzzer, guys. It's the first in the chat, in the private chat. Ours is private chat. So you don't have to put it into a message. To private chat. Whoever's got the fastest internet is going to work, because it's a real simple question. Okay. Who proposed they needed counseling? Who said they needed counseling? Who said the words, let's get counseling? First person to say it. Who said they want to get counseling? Let's see who the fastest person was. Yeah. Who's the fastest person?
It's Jay.
On my Jay on my list. It is Jay on my list. Jay, send your cash out. I'll give that to you as well. And the last one for the
chat. I'll donate it back to the chat.
You donate to the chat. Okay, so we're on 20 so far. We're on 20. We're on $20 at the end of the season. So keep it going. We're gonna keep it flashing. Okay. One last question for the audience. Last question for the audience as well. My question is, finish off this sentence. I need a word. Okay, I want the word. Morgan said, lowest hanging what? That's all I need to answer. Lowest hanging what? Lowest hanging what? Morgan said the word. I want the word. Okay. Okay. I got African Azitan first. She said fruit. JR, you were second, but you still cheated.
JR is trying to slip in there. I thought no panelists on this one.
JR tried it, and he still came second. That's the worst part about it. He heard it a few seconds ahead and still came off.
You just moving mad. You got the spirit of Jeffrey in you.
Listen, I was being chivalrous. I let the lady win. I was sure.
Now you really acted like your arch nemesis.
Not gonna work for Mercedes. I'm gonna work here, boy. But listen, hey Mercedes. Yes. Azatan, make sure you send me your Cash App. Drizzy has donated hers to the pot. So the pot at the end of the month. I said end of the show, it's $25. So we'll do that on our reunion. I'm guessing it's gonna be part 2 reunion, isn't it? So they're gonna do part 1 and part 2. So when we do our last panel, which will be reunion, the pot stands at $25, guys. So if you donate, if you pass yours on into the pot, then it goes into the pot, and we're at 25. So we appreciate it. So Azatan, send me your Cash App. I'll send that to you as well. Let me give you $5 to you as well. Okay. Azatan says she's donating her $5. So what are we on? 30? We're on $30 now. So okay, $30. It's looking good. Sean said he will double whatever we guys get. So if you guys keep adding to it, Sean gonna double it.
No. Don't try to just curly things me. You will not colonize me.
If this thing get to $100, these people gonna have to remember the whole season, because we're gonna have to go back into files for a question. We ain't doing nothing.
Oh, listen. Get a question ready, guys. You guys get a question ready. Do you know what I mean? Get some questions ready. I'll be happy to. You know what I mean? And then we'll test them with a little bit of something. You know, we might play some double or quits as well. You know, as well. So people can win a little bit of cash here and there. You know, saving all the bonus stuff for the end. V's like, I'm going back to the chat. It don't pay to be on this It don't pay to be on this panel. She said,
"What?
What? Why am I not? Why am I not in the audience?
You're not gonna have no panelists. So you gonna be up here by yourself."
I'm gonna send y'all a Christmas gift. Don't worry, guys.
Oh, like me and Jay been waiting for our sweatshirt since 1992.
Yeah, you're gonna wait to do. I just wait. You're gonna wait to Chat GTP take up.
I need some minerals.
Right now, I was like, is it gonna be my black sweatshirt? You said it be my old Christmas gift.
You know, we done see this man in 3 different cities, and we ain't got nary a sweatshirt yet.
We recycling the same sweatshirt for another year. Okay.
Listen. Hey, they ain't telling lies, boy. So I need to. I better get on this thing. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna use the $30 to go and pay for their sweatshirts. No, guys, listen. I'm gonna have that 70. I'm gonna have that 90-10% contract. I'm gonna show you something. Listen, audience. Thank you so much and appreciate it. Actually, I'm gonna be bad because I just realized I haven't read out one of the super chats, which was by 2Ls. 2Ls give us a super chat. She said, Mercedes is here for a good time, not a long time, just like MA. She wants to party and hit the strip club with her man, not be a wife or a bonus mum as well. So shout out to you 2Ls for that comment. Absolutely true as well. Listen, my panelists, audience, let me just say this. Look, from next week, these panelists are going to be putting their cash apps there. Okay, I don't want to hear from them anymore about this $5 quiz that they can't join. Okay, all right. So they're going to be putting their cash apps here from next week. Y'all need to know what you do. If you like the panelists, I want to see you guys donate to them. Okay, don't worry about me. I'm just gonna freeze in the winter cold. Don't worry about me. But for these panelists, I'm gonna need y'all to start sending some money to their cash app. Okay, guys. Ladies, I know you hear me because I know some of you love Sean. I know some of you love JR. I want to hear that love translated into financial gain. Okay, all right. So if you're here next week, from next week onwards, I'm gonna tell them to put their cash apps on the screen, right underneath their names. And if you love them and you appreciate them, that's V, that's Jay, that's Sean, that's JR, and the rest of them Seaway as well. Make sure you guys send them a little something, okay? All right. You know. Send him a little something. Make him feel loved. Okay. Sean wants a coffee for $6. Okay. So make him feel loved. Okay. Make him feel loved. All right. Now, audience. Yes, Sean. Who opened the mic? Was it you, Jay? Jay, you about to say something crazy, were you? Or was it V?
No, I was gonna say something. I said I could go donate towards the honey buns. I like honey buns, so.
Oh, okay, listen. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds sweet to me.
It's a snack. It's a snack.
It's a snack. Okay, so V's told you guys, listen, donate to her honey buns, okay, because she's a snack and that's gonna be a snack. So, all right. So listen, audience, you know what you gotta do, okay? You know what you gotta do. Before we go, want to let you know, listen, I can't have you guys here leaving without something.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
And just to let you know, Morgan and Tony, we appreciate the fact that you guys are looking at getting some good old counseling. I hope that you do find on that counseling the number of this particular person.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
I just need to watch that clip again. I just deep something. If you watch Anyala's face, it's like not on my watch. It's the way she switches. Let's watch one more time.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
You think that Tony's gonna get away with that? If Tony gets in front of her, you think he's gonna get her to play Anyala? Never that. Can never play Anyala. You must be mad. All right? She'll have you digging holes. In fact, she'll have Morgan put a near on Tony's head just to prove a point. You understand? Yeah. You don't know what she's gonna do with it. All right, listen, guys, and ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining the show. It's been amazing. Y'all came out 760 strong. You lot came out with a big time as well. Shout out to my panelists, Jay, V, Sean, JR, Seaway, Black also as well. Queen E, much a pleasure as well. And Sophie, thank you for turning up tonight and having a good time. Tomorrow night is a men's panel. Is where we get to discuss things for the men. Okay, ladies, you know what I want you to do? I want you ladies to supply us with some questions. Okay, all right. I want to get the men together and you to supply some questions. What is it you want to ask these men? You know, what is it you've wanted to ask these men? Not necessarily these men per se, but men in general. Okay, so Sunday we're gonna have a good time and enjoy ourselves. Have a men's panel. Have a little bit of a TikTok talk. And you know, enjoy ourselves. All right. So, and then Monday we begin again. Love is Blind. So, yeah, we're gonna start those lives again. Okay. All right. Appreciate you. Stay locked. Stay loaded. We'll see you.